Kadaba, Pakistan, evening of day 10. It's getting harder at night for me to keep my feet up and to keep the rats from biting me. I found that if I stomp and kill the first ones, then others chew on them for a while and then leave me alone. They started in on the tortures again this morning. Today, it was some sort of narcotic they injected into my arm. I think it was truth serum. They started asking questions again, which is a good sign. I was crazy as hell because of the narcotics and gave them some screwed up answers that would lead them nowhere. This continued until early afternoon, when they fed me a large bowl of hot stew and gave me all the water I wanted. Shit, they even came in and hosed me down before they tied me back up to the ceiling. I couldn't help wondering about this change in their actions. Hawaii, Saturday, day 7. I woke to the feeling of fingers running across the top of my head. I opened my eyes to see the most beautiful woman in the world. Good morning, sleepyhead. Jens cooed. You were really sawing logs this morning. It was fun waking up before you and getting to play with you. Do you know you moan in your sleep? Then I realized my underwear was pulled down. Mortified, I scrambled to pull them up. Hey, what was going on when I was sleeping? Don't worry, I didn't assault you, Jen answered. I didn't even give you a BJ, much as I wanted to. I just figured you'd seen all of me, so it was about time I got to see all of you, and I mean liked what I saw. She winked. I couldn't believe that you slept through it. I grabbed her and pulled her close. You need to be punished for that, young lady. What are you going to do? Pull down my pants and spank me, Jens said, her eyes widening in melodramatic fear. Nope, you would enjoy that too much, I replied. I am going to tickle you into submission. With that, the tickling, wrestling match was on. I'm not ticklish, so it was easy for me to win, and we just settled down to some serious cuddling and kissing. You know, I used to dream about this when I was a little girl, waking up in the same bed with you each morning. And while my dreams were awesome, the reality is even better. Sergeant Major Benny R. Blaine, I love you. She punctuated each letter with a kiss. You know, maybe we'll just stay in bed for the next 2 days. Too bad we don't have room service. Oh, no you don't, I answered Jens. I know what would happen if we stayed in bed that long. And I promised your parents that we wouldn't do that until our wedding night. Then let's run off and get married today. I looked at her, wanting nothing more than to do just that, and saw that she was serious. My love, there is nothing that I would like better than that, and if you really want to do that, we will. She squirmed. Goody, let's get going. Her squeal cut me off, and she tried to get up, but I kept holding her tight. Wait, my love. You interrupted me. I continued. I don't think you have thought this through. If we get married, even with your father being USMC general, you'll be reassigned and not be able to be my spotter. As long as you are my fiancé, and as long as we don't let our relationship interfere with our duty, we can still work together. Shit. I guess I was letting my hormones do my thinking. Damn it, I don't want to be reassigned. I love being your spotter. I guess for right now, I'll have to be content being your fiancé, she said with a pout. Well, then, my horny fiancé, it's settled. Go take a cold shower, like I do, and then let's eat some breakfast and get going on our 2-day vacation, I answered. Jens jumped out of bed, stripped off her pajamas, and threw them at me, flashing her lovely body at me. When we get married, I am sleeping in the nude. She ran into the shower. I thought about joining her in the shower, but I knew what would happen if I did. So I went to my bathroom and took a long and very cold shower. Jens had breakfast ready when I walked into the kitchen. She was wearing a nice sundress and had even put on just the right amount of makeup. I gave her a kiss. Thanks again for breakfast. You're really spoiling me. I'm the one who feels spoiled. Being with you is the best thing in the world, Jens answered. I'm sorry for all the sexual innuendos and teasing. Not having any boyfriends meant that I saved all my fantasies for you. I figured once I caught you we would make love, multiple times a day, and that would take care of my urges. I never thought I'd have to wait until I was married for you to make me a whole woman. I figure I'll calm down in a couple of months, but until then it will be cold showers for both of us. I didn't see her calming down anytime soon, and I didn't want her to. It was kind of nice, knowing she wanted me so passionately. It's kind of fun, and I think that I'd miss it if it stopped. We've been good at controlling ourselves when we have a mission, and we haven't yet gone all the way. You know my feelings on that, and I know you'll honor those feelings. We finished breakfast, and then I cleared the table and ran the dishwasher while Jens finished getting ready. The doorbell rang and I grabbed the shotgun sitting beside it before I answered it. Matt and Jim stood on the doorstep. Jim was looking pretty good considering the beating he took the other day. Damn, you're dangerous enough without that shotgun, Matt said. Jens walked out of her bedroom. Hi, boys. Thanks for being on time. I can't wait to get going. From Jens's conversation, I figured out that they were our frickin' escort for this weekend. Thanks for getting us and our wives this cushy assignment and out of training all weekend, Jim said. Jens glared at him. Just so you know, this isn't as cushy an assignment as you think. There have been 2 honest attempts on Ben's life, and there could easily be another one this weekend. You two are our bodyguards, and I demand that you do your job so that Ben and I can relax. You heard about the major yesterday? They both nodded their heads. You screw up, and you and your wives will be stationed in Thule with him. Damn, she was letting them have it, and she had their complete attention. You both have your CCW permit and are carrying now? They opened their jackets to show underarm holsters with Kimber Ultra carries in them. Jens nodded her satisfaction. One of you will be on duty and carrying at all times, but the other can have fun. However, I want both of you close enough that if you're needed, you can be there. But look at it this way, it's better than training all weekend, and it's all paid for. That left them with a smile on their faces. Matt and Jim had their cars with them. I asked, I don't want to take a Humvee for the weekend. Is there enough room that we can fit in one of your cars until we get to the rental car agency in town? Jim replied, we have plenty of room. You can ride with us. Then you get first shift, Matt declared. Jens reminded us, don't forget, we need to stop by the training area. I need to give them the map and instructions on resetting the traps. The car rental place is on the way, and I've already reserved the car, I replied. Let's pick it up first and then stop by the training area. Jens and I loaded our gear and ourselves into Jim's car. I opened the back door for Jens, and she slid across the seat, motioning for me to get in beside her. I sat down and she scooted over to me and gave me a big kiss. I put my arm around her. Jim introduced his wife, Sally, to us, and of course Jens had to show her the ring. After that they chatted like they were best of friends. I want to thank you all for this weekend getaway. Jim and I don't get much time off, and it will be nice to be off the base, Sally said in her East Coast accent. Jens explained that both Matt and Jim would be working some as our bodyguards, and Sally looked a little frightened. Jim spoke up. Don't worry, my dear. I don't think there will be much danger for any of us. Jens and Ben are 2 of the most deadly Marines in the Corps. Sally looked a little relieved. Jens and I got out at the car rental agency and went in. I walked up to the counter, handed them my credit card, signed my name, and they said they would bring the car around. Please make sure the top is down, I requested. The car was a brand new bright red 2007 Ford Mustang GT convertible with a standard transmission, and it looked and sounded almost as hot as Jens. Isn't this every boy's dream? Jens asked. A hot convertible with an equally hot blonde to ride in it? Of course, I answered, but you have wrong. It's a hot car with an even hotter blonde. That earned me a smoldering kiss, and Matt and Jim started honking their car horns. One of them shouted, hey, you two, get a room. Okay, that sounds like a great idea to me, Jens said. I punched it, and we took off for the training area. Make sure you don't lose our escort, Jens reminded me. We don't have the Predator task to follow us. I backed off the gas, and Matt pulled around and passed us, making an escort sandwich. This car wanted to run, and wanted to run fast. It was hell keeping between the 2 escorts. Jens enjoyed the wind blowing her golden hair. I love this. I think I need to get one of these. That gave me a great idea. I'd need to make some calls when I got back to the base. But for right now, my concentration was on the road and on Jens. Ben, keep your eyes on the road or you're going to kill us both, Jens ordered. You just keep driving and try not to think of me sitting over here. Damn, this woman could tease. I just might have to spank her one of these days. I'm wearing this. She pulled her dress up, just far enough for me to see a leg holster with another Kimber Ultra carry in it. Then I guess I didn't really need this, I replied, opening one button of my shirt to reach inside and pull out a snub, nose 44 Magnum revolver from the concealed underarm holster. Damn, Jens said. That thing's a cannon. But can you shoot it? 480 out of 500 at 25 feet, I bragged. But it kicks like a mule. Jens took out a bullet and looked at it. Damn, that's a black Talon one. I'm through with playing around, I said. If someone comes after me, they're going to die. We pulled up to the gate at the training area and an LC came up to the car, giving Jens the once-over. I'm sorry, civilians are not allowed in this area. It's restricted. I'm Sergeant Donaldson, and this is Sergeant Major Blaine. We have a weekend pass, and before we leave, the Brigadier General asked us to drop this off. It's a map of the locations of all the booby traps in the training area and instructions on how to reset the traps. Please make sure that the officer in charge of training receives this, Jens answered. The LC took the package. I spun the car around, and we were gone, cutting across the island on H3. It was too early to check into our room, so we went first to visit the USS Arizona Memorial II on Ford Island and spent about an hour there. The Wall of Honor was an excellent reminder to remain vigilant. We finished off with throwing flowers into the bay by the USS Arizona. After a somber time of paying our respects, we got back into the cars and caught H3 North. Jens had never been to the north side of the island, and since we couldn't check in until 1500, we were going to spend the day at the Waimea Valley and Waterfall Park and the Waimea Bay Beach. After a short drive, we arrived at the entrance to Waimea Valley. It is set slightly inland in a tropical forest. The area has been set aside as a natural adventure and cultural park. We were going to hike some excellent forest trails that are very peaceful, taking us all the way to the Waimea waterfall. The girls jumped out and went to the bathroom to change for our hike. Jens came out wearing a hot pink halter top that tastefully covered everything and a pair of relatively baggy board shorts. "Wow," I said, "you look like a buff and more beautiful Kate Bosworth from the crappy movie Blue Crush." "I hope I'm more buff than that fat little Hollywood 304, Jens replied. "Hollywood and most of the movies they make are crap, and Kate frickin' Bosworth doesn't even know how to surf. I heard that she tried once but broke a nail so she stopped." I'm not sure that story was true, but it did start all of us laughing. "My love," I chuckled, "I guess you have about as much use for Hollywood as I do. That's one more thing we have in common." I kissed her. "Let's get hiking." The lush, green trail was an easy hike, and Jens and I spent the time walking hand in hand. As we hiked, I pointed out various plants and animals that I knew, and Jens played a game where she asked me what something was, and if I could tell her, I was rewarded with a kiss. Matt and Jim and their wives weren't as much of a bother as I thought they'd be, giving us just enough privacy. When we finally reached the waterfalls and spent some time watching the rock divers jumping off the cliffs into the pool at the bottom. "Hey, that looks really fun," I joked. "I think I'll go try it." "Like hell you will," Jens replied. "I've finally caught you, and if you think I'm going to let you go jump off a cliff into a puddle, you're crazy." I squeezed her and laughed. "You do know that I was just yanking your chain?" "I know what I would like to yank," Jens winked. A chorus of 4 voices piped up, "Hey, you too, get a room," and we all laughed. Matt and Molly, Jens and I all rented kayaks for the trip back to the entrance. Jim and Sally rented a canoe because Sally was afraid of the kayaks and thought the canoe would be safer. The kayaks were really a piece of crap. Nothing like the 2 kayaks that I lost with the cabin. I had a nice dagger approach that I would go touring in and a dagger mamba for when I wanted to do whitewater runs. Damn, I was going to miss those boats. Of the 6, I was the best paddler, so I spent most of my time sneaking up on the other 5 and splashing them. They took off after me and I outran them and did it all over again. By the time we reached the entrance, I was the only one who was still dry, but not for long. Jens got out of her kayak. "I've had enough of this, mister." She jumped in the river beside me, grabbed my kayak, and flipped it over. The other 4 were cheering when I came up, so I swam over and started splashing them, and they took off running up the beach. After drying off, we went back to the cars. It was lunchtime, so I took us to a local little restaurant that specialized in Spam, and I mean the canned meat product, not the annoying emails. Jens said, "You're kidding. We're really going to eat here? All they serve is Spam. They have open-faced Spam burgers, Spam tempura, Spam musubi, Spam fried rice, Spam balaya, Spam quiche, and they even have Spam Wellington." Matt replied before I could. "You're in for a real treat." I ate once at a place like this. It took me 3 hours to leave because I just kept ordering more. I looked at Jens. "Do you trust me, my fiancé?" "Implicitly, my dear," she answered. I ordered her Spam musubi and Spam fried rice, and Spam Wellington for myself. Matt and Jim each ordered 3 various dishes, and their wives each ordered the open-faced Spam burgers. When the order finally came, it smelled delicious. Jens sniffed. "I hope it tastes as good as it smells." She nibbled her food. Matt and Jim weren't wasting any time. They were wolfing down their dishes. "Hey, this is pretty tasty," Jens said with surprise in her voice. "Let me try some of yours." She did, and immediately fell in love with the Spam Wellington. In the end, we shared the 3 dishes. "I don't think I can eat another bite," Jens said. "I'm shocked that was so good." Sally and Molly ate most of their burgers. Jim and Matt polished off the rest and went back, and each ordered baked Spam. While we were waiting for the order to come, Sally commented, "Jens, it must be nice being able to eat like that and still stay so slim." This got the 3 women talking about eating and exercising, and Jens promised to show them some workout routines that they could do. Finally, Matt and Jim were done, and it was time to head to Waimea Bay Beach. "Let's lie on the beach first and get some sun." "I'm still too full from lunch to go swimming," Jens remarked. We found a good place on the beach, sort of at one end, and I put up the beach umbrella and set up a couple of beach chairs. Jens shucked off her shorts to reveal the matching hot pink bikini bottom under them, spread out a towel on the sand away from the umbrella, came over and tossed a bottle of sunscreen to me. Rub some lotion on my back? With pleasure. I started working the lotion into her back, enjoying the feel of her toned muscles. Touching her sexy body drives me crazy. Let me know when 30 minutes are up, my love. I'll need to turn over. Yinz kissed my cheek and went over to the blanket, lay down, undid the string on her back and fell asleep. I occupied myself by watching the ocean with the waves rolling in, the surfers trying to catch them, and the people frolicking on the beach. I felt life, peace, and joy that I hadn't known for many years, and reflected that the source of that joy and peace was lying just a few feet away from me. As I thought more about my relationship with Yinz, the following words kept coming to mind. Caring, loving, easy, natural, complete, and right. I'd never felt this way before, and it amazed me that I could. I'd never had any of these feelings with Jugs, as Yinz liked to call my ex-girlfriend. There was always conflict and competition and strife, and not the good competition like Yinz and I had that made me a better person. Jugs had been my only real girlfriend after high school, and when she cheated on me when I was in basic training, it had wounded me deeply. I compared the fulfillment of my relationship with Yinz to the empty flings the pain of Jugs's betrayal had caused me to seek. With Yinz, all the love that I had bottled up for years could finally emerge. I felt as if I'd been blind for my whole life, and now I could finally see. Now I could finally love. And I could see that even though I loved Yinz, I was still holding back. I was still afraid that she would hurt me like everyone else had. But now I could finally understand the depth of her love for me, and even more importantly, I could return that depth of love back to her. I looked at my watch and the 30 minutes was up, so I walked over to Yinz and woke her up and tied her top. She rolled over and looked at me and smiled. It finally happened, didn't it? She asked. I just nodded my head. We both knew what she meant. She sat up, hugged me tight, and murmured, I love you, my Ben, and I can tell that you finally love me without any reservations or worries. Yes, my Yinz. You and your love have chased all the old wounds and injuries out of my soul. For the first time since my parents died, I finally feel, and I finally have a reason to live, and today is a good day to live. I whispered in her ear, changing my old motto from, today is a good day to die. Yinz hugged me like she never hugged me before and started crying. I was so worried that I would be too late, that you had been hurt and wounded by so many frickin' bitches that you'd never really feel again. I hoped and prayed that if I gave you all of my love without reservation that someday you could get over the ghost from your past. When you woke me up, I could see it in your eyes. Her tears wet my neck and vanished almost instantly in the warmth. We continued holding each other, knowing that our lives were now intertwined. Somehow, in the space of 30 minutes I had changed, no longer thinking, I, but we. Yinz had started chipping away at my hardened heart with the Leadville race and had finally broken through, releasing the man hidden inside. This was the best gift that anyone could give me, the gift of finally being free. I kissed her. Thank you, my love, for giving me the best gift ever. The gift of being able to totally and completely love you. That made her cry even more, but it didn't bother me, because I knew they were tears of joy. I just held her close and let her cry. Finally she stopped, sniffed a couple of times and worried. I must look terrible with all the crying I've done. I bet my eyes are red and my face is puffy. I took her face in both hands and looked into her eyes. Nope, even with all the crying that you did, trying to make yourself look ugly, you still look beautiful to me. I kissed her. Hey, you better tan the front side now. You would look funny with the backside dark and the front side white. You're right, my love, but please sit here beside me and hold my hand. I don't want to be apart from you, she answered with a smile. We smoothed out the blanket and Yinz lay down on her back. I put lotion on her so she wouldn't burn and sat down beside her holding her hand and talking. After the 30 minutes were up, Yinz said, I'm hot. Let's go swimming. Last one in is a rotten egg. I let her win. It was much more fun watching her as she ran. The other 4 joined us, and we spent about an hour playing and swimming in the ocean. This is so much fun. I never want it to end, Yinz said, but I am getting hungry. What's the plan for dinner? It's a good time to stop for the day. We're at the north part of the island, and we're staying at the south part. So it'll probably take about an hour to drive, I answered. Where are we staying? Yinz asked. I looked at her and smiled. That's classified. If I told you, I would have to kill you. Everyone laughed, and we walked back to the cars. Where? Yinz looked over at me with puppy dog eyes. Honey, do you think I could drive? Catch, I said as I threw her the keys and opened the driver's side door for her. She turned the key, and the V8 Ford roared to life with a throaty growl. I looked over and said, Isn't this every girl's dream? A hot convertible with an equally hot guy to riding in it? She laughed and punched the accelerator. We tore out through the parking lot and into the street, leaving smoke and rubber. Hey, don't forget about our escort, I reminded her. Ah, shoot, she pouted and let the car slow up. A minute or so later, Matt passed us, once again taking the lead. This sucks, Jens said. All this horsepower, and we can't even use it. It would be much more fun to just punch it and leave them. And she did just that when we hit H3 southbound. We were doing about 90 when the state patrol came up behind us with his lights on. Jens slowed up, pulled over, shut off the ignition, and put both hands on the side of her door. I couldn't help but notice how familiar she was with the procedure. A few minutes later, the trooper come up to the driver's side of the car, giving Jens a stern look. Young lady, do you know how fast you were going? Yes, officer, Jens answered, grinning. I was doing at least 90 miles an hour. Let me see your license and the registration. The trooper was not impressed with her honesty. Before I reach into my purse and get my license, sir, I want to inform you that both I and Sergeant Major Blaine have CCW licenses and are currently carrying concealed firearms. Matt and Jim finally caught up with us and pulled up behind the trooper's car, making him a bit nervous. Jens continued. The two other vehicles that just stopped are our bodyguards. They also have valid CCWs and are carrying concealed weapons. I wanted to let you know so you wouldn't be concerned if you happened to see one of the weapons. The trooper's hat shifted a little as his brow took on deep furrows. Okay, I want both of you to step out of the car and keep your hands where I can see them. He called back to Matt and Jim and had them and their wives get out of the car too. After we were all out of the cars, two more trooper cars pulled up and the troopers got out and walked towards the six of us. One of the troopers stopped dead in his tracks for a second and then strode over to me. Son of a bitch, if this isn't a sight for sore eyes, he exclaimed. Bonsai, I thought they shipped your sorry but off to the Navy. He shook my hand and gave me a big hug as everyone else watched, dumbfounded. I replied, shit, they let any old beat-up Marine work for the troopers here. They must really be hurting. Last thing I heard, you were drinking margaritas and chasing teenagers. How the hell are you doing, Jack? The trooper that stopped us started filling my old spotter in on what had happened and how we were all carrying guns. Jack told him, son, you stopped the best goddamn sniper in the world. If you aren't dead now, it's because he didn't want you dead. Stop worrying and let me handle this. He dismissed the other troopers. Jack looked us all over real well, stopping at Jens. Damn, Ben. I have to say that you've moved up in the world. Would you be offended, ma'am, if I said you're beautiful? Jens held up her left hand and wiggled her fingers, showing Jack the engagement ring. Only if my fiancé, Bonsai Ben, doesn't mind. She smiled. Holy shit. Jack rubbed the back of his neck. You've got to be kidding. Someone finally roped and tied that old reprobate? Wait until I tell my wife Masha, Jack said in amazement. I kissed Jens on the cheek and needled my old friend. Old reprobate, my butt. You must be looking in the mirror. Jack, I would like you to meet my fiancée, Sergeant Jennifer Donaldson. My new spotter. Holy shit, Jack exclaimed. If I knew they were handing out spotters that looked like this, I would have stayed in the Corps and become a sniper. He looked at the traffic beginning to congest. Damn, I wish we could stay more and talk, but it looks like we're causing a traffic slow up, so we had better go. Damn, Jack, it's been good to see you. Are you off tonight? I get off at 5, he replied. I walked over and whispered something to him, stepped back and said, we'll see you and Masha tonight. Give her my love. Jens piped in. Give her our love, you mean? Jack drove off, and I turned to Jens. Okay, no more driving for you today. I took the keys from her, and she faked a pout, but it faded fast. That's okay, she said. If you drive, it leaves my hands free for other things. We heard 4 voices say in unison, get a room. You too. I turned and grinned at our escorts. Now, that sounds like a great idea. Let's go. Everyone was impressed when we pulled up to the Kahala Hotel and Resort, my favorite because it was more like old Hawaii. Jim let out a low whistle. I've heard about this place. It costs a fortune to stay here. I always wanted to bring Sally here, but I couldn't afford it. Sally and Molly and even Jens were Uanji and I. It was nice to be able to spend some of the money I'd saved up from when I was on assignment all the time and had no one to send it to. It was even nicer to have someone to share it with. I paid for nice rooms for each couple, with great views of the ocean and walkout balconies. The whole hotel radiated an aura of luxury, the luxury of a past age. You could see it in all the tasteful details and accents. Every corner that you turned brought a new wonder to behold. The bellboys brought us and our bags to the rooms. It seemed to me that Matt and Jim had an inordinate amount of heavy luggage for an overnight stay. All the rooms were right next to each other to make things easy. Everyone came into our room after they got settled. Molly and Sally were gushing about the rooms and Yince was beaming. We won't have dinner until 2000 tonight. We're going to a luau, I said, bringing cheers from the girls. I continued, I know that we're hungry now, so there's a fresh fruit basket in each room. Also, in 30 minutes, the ladies have an appointment at the spa. I never got to finish my sentence because I was attacked by Yince and smothered with hugs and kisses, and even swarmed by Sally and Molly. The girls didn't wait around to hear more. They headed off to get ready for their spa treatment. Ben, we want to thank you for all this, Matt and Jim said and shook my hand. We've never seen our wives happier. Excuse us a couple of minutes, and we'll be back. Yince called from the bathroom. Honey, could you come in here, please? I walked in the bathroom, and she peeked her head out of the shower door and smiled. I was wondering if you would wash my back for me, she said with a twinkle in her eyes. I turned red, and she laughed. You're so cute when you blush. I was just teasing. Could you hand me that robe over there? I forgot it, and I don't think you want me walking around like this. She opened the shower door all the way. I blushed even more and helped her into the robe. She snuggled up to me and gazed up into my eyes. If we were doing it, you would be getting so lucky tonight. Not only have you totally spoiled me today, you've spoiled Molly and Sally. I know women, and when those two get back to the base and tell all the other wives, I'm going to be the envy of every one of them. I can't wait to tell Mom. She'll be so impressed. But, my love, this must have cost you a small fortune. I explained to Yince that I'd invested the money I hadn't spent while I was in Iraq and had amassed quite a bit. She was impressed. Wow, you did all that on a sergeant's salary, she said. I really didn't have anything or anyone to spend money on until now, I replied, holding her close. We can afford this. Besides, soon we'll be in Iraq eating crap and sleeping in sand. I wanted one big fling before we left. I love you so much, Yince said, burning her words into me with a blazing kiss. She spanked my butt and said, You boys be good while we're gone and don't get into any trouble. Just as she finished, there was a knock on the door. I pulled my gun and looked through the peephole. It was Sally and Molly ready to head to the spa. I let them in, and they both kissed me on the cheek thanking me for the treat. Yince came out and saw it, and put on a show of jealousy. I can't leave you alone for a minute without you seducing some poor unsuspecting women. I blushed again. Sally and Molly said, Oh, isn't that cute? He blushed. This of course made it worse. They all laughed, and Yince said, Let's get out of here before he dies of embarrassment. Wow, what a day it had been. So far this had been the best day of my life, and it wasn't even over. A couple of minutes later, there was another knock on the door. It was Matt, so I let him in. I wanted to thank you again for this weekend. I brought you a couple things for the room. He took a duffel bag off his shoulder, unzipped it, and handed me AM-1014 shotgun. I checked to make sure it was loaded and had one in the pipe. Then he pulled out an H&K MP53. We thought that M4S would be overkill, so we got these from some recon guys, Matt said. I checked it like the shotgun. Take it easy. We'll see you later. Just bang on the walls if you need us. Matt left the room. When he was gone, I took out a bottle of Knob Creek bourbon from my bag and poured a couple fingers into a crystal glass from the bar and took a sip. I walked into the bathroom, stripped out of my clothes, and jumped in the shower. It was still warm from Yince's earlier shower. It brought to my mind seeing her incredible body earlier, and things got a little uncomfortable down below, so I turned the water to a colder setting. After things were frozen into submission, I turned the water back to its original temperature and finished my shower. It felt amazing to wash off all the sand and sweat, and drying off with the hotel's plush towels was an almost blissful experience. I even thought about buying some for us. I got dressed in a nice button-down shirt, paired with one of my favorite ties, a silkscreen of Van Gogh's Starry Night, and light dress pants. I finished it off with a nice pair of socks and dress shoes. I looked at myself in the mirror, raised my glass in a toast, and finished my drink. I looked damn good. The ladies were going to be gone for another hour, so I decided to use the time to catch up on my reading. I grabbed my Clive Cussler book, headed to the deck and found a comfortable chair, and cracked the book. For chapters later, I heard Yince come in the door and I rose to greet her. She ran and jumped into my arms and smothered me with kisses. That was so nice, and I feel so relaxed and happy. I even got a manicure and pedicure. You're so sweet to do this for me and the other girls, she said. It was great talking to Molly and Sally. They started teasing me about you getting lucky tonight, and I told them that I've never done that and that we're going to wait until we're married. They thought I was crazy until I told them the facts. Then they thought it was romantic and wished their husbands were half as romantic as you are. Then she noticed what I was wearing. I guess that I need to get dressed. She left me with one more kiss and went into the bathroom. 15 minutes later, she emerged like a butterfly coming out of a cocoon, wearing a mini dress that came down to mid-thigh in a color that matched her violet eyes. She sashayed over to me, grabbed me by my necktie, and pulled me close to her. "I guess you're my pull toy tonight," she said. "I forgot to tell you, you look very nice tonight. I can't wait to finally meet Jack and Masha. You do know that I study Jack, too?" She smothered any reply with a steaming kiss and molded her body against mine. We stayed this way for about 10 minutes, which would have probably lasted all night, but a knock on the door broke the spell. I walked right over and opened the door, earning me a hard look from Jens. In walked Jack with his wife. Masha was 20 years younger and was quite pretty, with dark hair that cascaded down to the middle of her back, green eyes, and a tan complexion. I'm sure she had something to do with Jack retiring. I don't ever remember seeing her when she didn't look like a model, and tonight she was stunning, wearing high heels and a tight black strapless dress that was almost embarrassingly short. I looked at Jens, who was still scowling at me. I knew it was Jack by the knock, that's why I just opened the door. Then I turned back to our guests. "Damn, it's good to see both of you," I said, shaking Jack's hand. "Dobro večer, kak dela?" "Good evening, how are you?" I asked Masha. "Ah, any ploha. Predstate minja svojna vest." "Not bad. Introduce me to your fiancé," Masha replied. Jack noticed the shotgun and the MP5 by the door. "Expecting trouble?" "The way our ladies look, I figured we would have to fight all the other men to keep them," I jokingly replied, earning big smile from the ladies. "Masha, this is my fiancée, Jennifer." I finally answered her. "Would either of you like a drink?" "I'll wait until later," Jack replied. "I am 2 months pregnant, so I can't have alcohol," Masha answered. Both Jens and I exclaimed, "Congratulations, you too." Jens and Masha went out on the balcony to talk girl talk, and Jack and I sat down at the table in the room. "Damn, Bonsai. You look happier than I've ever seen you look. Jens must be good for you. I still can't believe you're finally engaged." When I told Masha, she was sure I was joking with her. "Tell me all about it." I almost didn't believe the story myself as I told Jack the details of the past week. "She any good as a spotter?" Jack finally asked. "No offense, Jack. She is better than you were, and to top it all off, she shoots almost as well as I do." "Our first day shooting, she shot a nickel group at 1,000 meters, I answered. "No offense taken," Jack replied. I was getting old and needed to retire to be with Masha. She didn't like me being gone all the time. Besides, and I couldn't believe it because I'd never heard of it before, the brass gave me a huge retirement bonus. That's how we could afford to move to Hawaii. Plus, they pulled the strings to get me into the Hawaii State Patrol and provided a free house. It was too sweet a deal to pass up. I was just worried about you. Now things started making sense. "Jack, I'm glad for you and Masha. You look better than you have in years. Retirement must be good for you. You do know that Yin's father is General Donaldson?" Jack looked like a cartoon character when a light bulb goes on over its head. "You know, this all makes sense to me now. They wanted me to retire so Yin's could be your spotter. I guess I was just lucky." "We were very lucky," I replied, and went on to tell him how Yin's had always wanted to be my spotter and the deal she made with the general. Then I told him about her computer program and how we should have died on about 5 of the assignments that we had. Son of a bitch. I knew that one was close, but I didn't think it was that bad. He shook his head in wonder. "So level with me. What's all this shit with the guns by the door and the bodyguards?" I told him about the fatwa and the attempts on my life, and how Jens had taken care of the pricks. "Shit, that's one balsa lady you have. Beautiful and deadly. You had better not piss her off." "So she really cut off their tools and shoved them in their mouths?" he asked with amazement. "I saw the pictures with my own eyes. It wasn't a pretty sight," I replied. "I guess those guys won't be meeting their 72 virgins," Jack laughed. The ladies walked in from the balcony, and it was like watching 2 models coming down a fashion show runway. I looked over at Jack. "We're damn lucky." "That we are," Jack replied. Jens called the other rooms. Matt and Jim and Molly and Sally came over. Introductions were made, and we all went to the luau together. The luau was great, with all the hula dancers and fire twirlers that you would expect. The food was excellent, and I ate way more than I should have. The day was perfect, the evening was perfect, and too soon it was time to say goodbye to Jack and Masha and head back to our room. When I closed the door, Jens melted against me. "Today was the best day of my life." "Thank you, Ben." She kissed me, "But I am tired and want to get to sleep." I let her use the bathroom first, and when I came out for my turn, she was already fast asleep in our bed. I climbed in behind her and snuggled up close, only to find that she was sleeping in the nude. Damn, she is going to drive me crazy. The thought of her body so close and so accessible excited me. It made me wonder if we should just say to hell with it and make mad passionate love all night. In the end, common sense and honor won out. I held her close, turned out the light, and went to sleep. Kadaba, Pakistan, evening of day 11. I felt stronger today. I think it's because I had more food last night. I kept my legs up almost all night, so the rats didn't bite me much. They inflicted the same narcotic torture today that I had yesterday, with the same effect. I was as loopy as hell and told them some incredible bullshit answers, but it seemed like they were happy that I was talking to them. I guess they're so stupid that they don't know bullshit when they hear it. They fed me well again tonight and gave me all the water I wanted, but no hose bath. Damned camel jockeys always use 3 guards with guns when they move me, and always leave 1 armed guard in the room with me when I'm tied up, except at night. I'm good at martial arts, but I know that no matter how good I am, I can't fight 3 AK-47s. I need to survive, stay strong, and look for a chance to escape. I'm surprised they left the lights on tonight. I'm hoping it will discourage the rats while I make the only escape I can. Hawaii, Sunday, day 8. I awoke better rested than I'd thought I would this morning, with Yentz sleeping in the nude last night. I was spooning her all night long, and when I woke up, my right hand was on her body. Thank God that somehow I was able to extricate my hands and slip out of the bed without waking her. I fired up the coffee maker and went out onto the balcony to watch the sunrise. 10 minutes later, Yentz came out in a robe with 2 cups of coffee. I had the most wonderful dream last night. You spent all night running your hands all over my body, Yentz said as she handed me a cup. Good morning, my fiancé. How did you sleep? I slept like a baby, I answered, not daring to tell Yentz about where my hands had been that morning. Thanks for the cup of coffee. How about we get some clothes on and go for a little run on the beach before breakfast? That sounds like a great idea, she answered. I need to run off some of the food that we ate last night. I think I gained 10 pounds. Let me go put on some cloths. By the way, I hope you liked my pajamas last night. She flashed me a wicked grin. I did notice your lack of pajamas last night. I figured that you ate so much you couldn't fit into them, I joked. You're going to pay for that, mister. Yentz caught me with a surprise leg sweep, took me to the floor and jumped on my chest. So I'm fat, am I? She acted upset at me, pretending to hit me on the chest. You know, I answered, when you don't wear pajamas you're even easier to tickle. I grabbed her sides. Oh, no you don't, Yentz replied, grasping my hands. I let her force them over my head and pin them to the floor. I want a retraction of that fat joke. She still pretended to be angry. I decided to play along. I, Benny Blaine, formally retract all mention of Jennifer Donaldson being fat, for the time being. What's this for the time being crap? She remarked. Well, if you keep eating like you did last night and don't exercise. Yentz interrupted. Hey, I was hoping for some exercise last night. I was even dressed for it. I retorted. Is that why you were sleeping when I came to bed? I guess you missed your chance. Now you have to wait until we're married. Oh damn, Yentz answered. You could have just rolled me over and had your way with me. Hey, that's me doing all the work, I answered. I thought you wanted some exercise. Speaking of that, let's not waste any more of this beautiful morning. Let me up so we can go running. I want a kiss and a hug and from you to tell me how beautiful and not fat I am. Yentz still pretending to be hurt. So I did just that, several times, and Yentz finally let me up and walked towards the bathroom. She looked over her shoulder when she was halfway there, noticed I was watching her, and let the robe slide off her bare shoulders and fall onto the floor. She started singing, dancing into the bathroom. I'm in heaven when you kiss me. Heaven when you kiss me. You were sent to me from Wonderland. Ooh, it's heaven when you kiss me. Heaven when you kiss me. You were sent to me from Wonderland. I go crazy when you kiss me. Baby, don't resist me. Take me with you back to Wonderland. You know that I'm hypnotized by your eyes. And I just can't resist. Every time that we kiss. I thought about how waking up with Yentz each morning was an adventure. Then I corrected myself. Being with Yentz is the adventure of a lifetime. I threw on some loose shorts, put the snub nose into a low-back holster, called Matt, and told him to meet us for a run in 10 minutes. He was really sleepy sounding, so I was sure he got lucky several times last night. Yentz bebopped out of the bathroom still singing the same song. Dancing over to me, she stopped singing and said, I love it when you watch me. I guess I go a little crazy and like to show off for you, and did a pirouette in front of me. Like what you see. I loved what I saw. Yentz had on a nice camisole workout top and her favorite pair of short shorts. I pulled her close to me and gave her a hug and a kiss. Very much. You look beautiful as always. I swatted her on the butt. Damn, where's Matt? I want to run. Let's go knock on his door, Yentz said. Matt came out looking tired, but with a big smile on his face. Sorry. I was on my way over, but sort of got distracted. Jens and I looked at each other and laughed. I think you need to zip your fly, Jens said. Matt turned red and fixed his problem. Are you carrying and ready to go? I asked. He was. So we went down to the beach, kicked off our shoes, and started to run side by side, setting an easy pace at first, increasing speed as we warmed up. Matt asked, so how far are you to thinking of running today? A couple of miles? Jens and I exchanged a look, and we both said together, oh, not far, just about 20 miles. Matt groaned. 20 frickin' miles after last night? I think you two are trying to kill me. We both asked, why? What went on last night? And chuckled, knowing perfectly well what had happened. Shit, I'm calling Jim to meet me with a car at the halfway point. I don't remember the last time I ran 20 miles, Matt said, huffing out his answer. He called Jim, and from the gist of the conversation, we were able to tell that he interrupted something and Jim wasn't really happy, but agreed to meet Matt at what should be the halfway point of our run. It was great running on the beach without shoes. We raced the waves to see if we could keep from getting wet. Matt was getting really tired and falling further behind us. I looked over at Jens. He's never going to make 10 miles if we don't slow up. She gave me her patented, sexy, pouty look and complained, shoot, I really wanted a good workout today. Your wish is my command, my love, I answered. Let's switch off doing fireman carries on each other. I scooped her up and threw her over my shoulders, grinning at her startled squeal. That did slow me up and allowed Matt to catch up. Jens said, so I guess I'm not too fat to carry. Matt stared at me. You told her she was fat? You must have a death wish. My wife's from Texas, and if I ever told her that, well, I shudder to think what would happen. I wanted to come up with a witty reply, but it was too hard running and carrying Jens to talk. Instead, I decided to run faster. Jens said, now we're moving. Huh. Horse, giddy up. She pretended to whip my butt with her free hand. Matt said, oh shit, come on, slow up for me. After about a mile, I was getting tired, so I slowed up and lowered Jens down. Your turn. I helped Jens get me up onto her shoulders, and she took off just about the time Matt caught up. We heard him say, hey, no fair. She had a rest. I was amazed that Jens could carry me. I outweighed her by at least 70 pounds. She did a good job, but couldn't run as fast, so Matt did get a breather. She got tired after a half a mile and put me back down. You want carried again, my love? I asked. As much fun as that was, I like running beside you better. But let's slow up a little for Matt, she answered. Jim was waiting for us at the 10-mile mark. As we turned to head back, Matt yelled at Jim, those two are frickin' crazy. They about killed me. Lots of luck to you, Jim. Jim was a little lighter than Matt and could run better. We took it easy on him for about a mile so that he could warm up. Jim said to us, I don't know what Matt was whining about. This isn't bad. Jens and I exchanged another glance and said in unison, fresh meat. And we kicked it up to our normal running speed. Jim fell behind and we heard him say, shit. Now I know what Matt was whining about as he tried to keep up with us. Jens asked me, you carrying your snub nose? It's right next to my heart, I answered, indicating my lower back holster. She laughed. I guess I'll have to see if I can find your heartbeat there later. You know, Jim has always been a little mouthy, his wife is East Coast bitchy, and I really don't care for them. I don't think we should show him any mercy. Since you're carrying, I don't mind if we drop him. She sped up even more, getting in front of me. Damn, it was a nice view, and I don't mean Hawaii. It wasn't long till we were back at the hotel beach, and Matt was waiting for us. Jim called me and said that you guys dropped him, that he's about 5 minutes behind you, and that I needed to be waiting for you. Are you two done running for the day? Jens looked at me and said, I don't know, honey. That was pretty fun. Maybe we should do it again. Matt groaned. You two are crazy. In unison, we replied, hey, we never said we were sane. So, now you two are starting to say the same things at the same time, Matt said. This is getting spooky. We both laughed and said, again together, great minds think alike. But that did make me think, ever since day before, it did seem like we were becoming more one. We were saying the same things at the same times, and sometimes even finishing each other's sentences. It didn't really feel spooky to me. It just felt really natural. Jens looked at me. It doesn't feel spooky to me either. Did I just say something out loud? I asked her. Nope, but I knew exactly what you were thinking, she replied with a smile. I noticed it yesterday after my big cry, but didn't say anything to you. I was wondering if you would notice. It's not like I can read your mind. It's more like I can read or feel your feelings. I don't know how or why it happened, but I'm glad it did because I feel so close to you. Let's see if you can do the same with me. I'm going to feel something. You concentrate and see if you can figure it out. I concentrated and walked over to Yin's, gave her a big hug and kiss and bent down and whispered in her ear, "My love, you know I want to, but we need to wait until we're married." Yin's got excited and started jumping up and down. "That's right. You did it. That's exactly what I was feeling." "It was like I could feel your feelings, but I'm not sure that was a good test," I replied. "You think about that all the time. Why don't you try something else?" She looked into my eyes and I concentrated. Finally, after a couple of minutes, I said, "I felt like you wanted to know that the plans are for today. First, we are headed back to the North Shore, to the Moke to introduce you to rock climbing, then a break for lunch, and we're heading to Kualoa Ranch, where Jurassic Park was filmed for an afternoon of mountain biking." How did I do? That started her bouncing again. That was really good. You got 2/3 of it right. I also wanted to know what we were doing tonight. I know you did, I smiled. But that's a secret, I started, and Yin's interrupted. If you told me, you'd have to kill me. We laughed. Matt said, "I changed my mind. You two are really spooky." Jim ran up and said, "I think I'm going to die." "Damn, you two are fast." We all started laughing, and Matt replied, "They did win the Leadville 100 trail run this year." "Oh shit. I'd heard 2 Marines had won it, but I didn't know that it was both of you." "No wonder you kicked my butt," Jim answered. I started, "Let's go clean up and meet 4. Yin's finished. Breakfast in 30 minutes. Matt explained to Jim, they've been doing this all morning, either finishing each other's sentences or saying the same sentence at the same time. "It's really spooky." "No, it's not," we both said, and then laughed. Yin's said, "Last one to the..." I interrupted. "Hotel is a rotten egg," and we all tore off for the hotel. In the hotel room, Yin's wanted to shower together too. Save time. I told her that someday we would, but not today, and of course, she got even by pouting and stripping in front of me. Dancing into the bathroom, she started singing, "Heaven, I'm in heaven, and my heart beats so that I can hardly speak, and I seem to find the happiness I seek. When we're out together dancing cheek to cheek, heaven, I'm in heaven, and the cares that hung around me through the week seem to vanish like a gambler's lucky streak. When we're out together dancing cheek to cheek." She finished and I jumped into the shower. Making sure I locked the door, I started singing, "Oh, I love to climb a mountain and to reach the highest peak, but it doesn't thrill me half as much as dancing cheek to cheek. Oh, I love to go out fishing in a river or a creek, but I don't enjoy it half as much as dancing cheek to cheek. Dance with me. I want my arms about you. The charms about you will carry me through to heaven. I'm in heaven, and my heart beats so that I can hardly speak, and I seem to find the happiness I seek. When we're out together dancing cheek to cheek." I walked out of the bathroom and Yin's continued singing until I accidentally let my towel drop and the words froze in her throat. "Oh, I'm sorry," I said. "I guess the towel slipped," and I picked it up and wrapped it back around my waist. "What's the matter? Cat got your tongue. You wouldn't want to do that again?" Yin's asked. "Nope, I'm hungry and the show is over," I replied. She gave me her best pouty look. "Just once more, please." I was saved by a knock on the door. I grabbed my clothes and ducked into the bathroom. When I came out a couple of minutes later, the 6 of us headed down to breakfast. Sitting around the table, everyone looked really happy, satisfied, and loving. I looked at Yin's and winked. "I wonder why." Yin's continued, "Everyone looks so happy and in love today." I kept going. "Makes me wonder what happened last night and this morning." Yin's turn. "I do know that Matt had his fly down and looked pretty flushed when we knocked on his door." We laughed as the other 4 blushed. Sally and Molly looked at us in disbelief. Matt said, "They've been doing this all morning." Jim told them, "They complete each other's sentences or say the same sentences at the same time." "Shit, they even have us doing it now." We both said with a chuckle, "That's right." Molly looked at us. "No, this isn't spooky. I saw this before in my small hometown in Texas. We had this old couple that had been married for 60 years, and they did this all the time. They were so in tune with each other they could tell what each one was feeling and thinking. It was a wondrous thing to watch. But you two aren't even married and haven't even..." "Oops. I almost told the guys your secret. I guess it doesn't make sense to me." "Haven't even what?" The guys echoed. Now it was our turn to blush. Matt saw it, and the light clicked on in his head. "Oh, I understand." He leaned over and whispered in Jim's ear. Jim's eyes widened and he said, "Is that for real?" I nodded my head and started explaining, "It has to be this way for us." Yin's picked up, "Otherwise, we couldn't be a sniper team together." My turn. "Yin's father, the general, knows about this?" "Yin's, and approves of it." Matt said, "Isn't it hard?" We both said, "Death before dishonor." Matt and Jim said, "Semper Fi." The rest of the table answered, Ora! I told them all about the plans for the day. Matt and Jim thought it was cool, but their wives weren't too happy about the rock climbing. I looked at Yince and I knew that even though she had never climbed, she would take care of the situation with the wives. So we decided to take 2 cars today. The ladies in the Mustang with Yince driving, and the guys in Matt's car. My love, I cautioned Yince, please drive safer today than yesterday. It would be a shame if you had to spend tonight in the jail. She gave me a kiss, and we were off. I had enough climbing gear for Yince and myself other than shoes for her, but we needed equipment for the other 4. So we stopped at a rental place and got 4 more sets of shoes and climbing harnesses. I had enough carabiners, belay devices, quick draws, and ropes. I would never use rental ropes or quick draws. You never know if they're safe, and rental shoes are always nasty. The rental place had a nice selection of new La Sportiva climbing shoes, so I bought Yince a pair of Mythos just like mine. She thanked me with a hug and kiss and said, "Now we're twins." Even with all that we had done today, we were still at the moke by 1000 hours. I figured we would climb for 3 hours, and then break for lunch and head to the ranch. Yince had worked on Molly and Sally, and they were ready to try rock climbing. But Sally made it known that she was stopping if she broke a nail. Yince smiled and said, "Sorry, my love. It's the best I could do." She grew up in New York frickin' City and never spent much time outdoors. "Thanks, my love. I'm amazed at what you did." I looked at her nails. She's probably going to break one on the first climb. I brought some nice wine in the cooler so if she does, she can at least sit and enjoy herself. I wanted to do Easy Rider, one of the 2 climbs rated 5.7, but because of the way it was slanted I knew that we could have some injuries when we had a fall. I felt it wiser to try the other, so we headed on down to Vegetable Crack. Matt and Jim had climbed some in basic training, but they had forgotten everything. Feeling a little like I did when I took the Boy Scouts climbing while on leave, I put on my harness, showing everyone how to do theirs, and I checked the fit on Yin's harness. I like it when you touch me down there," she purred. Of course the other 4 said, "Get a room, you 2. Then, I showed them all how to tie a figure-8 knot, and leaving them to practice, taped my fingers and showed them how to do the same while I top-roped the climb. Unfortunately, Vegetable Crack didn't have the small ropes to pull up the climber's rope, so I showed Yince how to belay me. I wanted to free climb, but with our newly forged connection, I sensed that Yince would throw a fit. I grabbed my rack of cams and started climbing, putting in a couple of cams just to keep Yince happy. The chains at the top through which I'd normally run the rope looked a little rough. I didn't want to ruin a rope, so I pulled out 2 locking carabiners. I hooked up my belay device to Yince's end of the rope, off-belayed, and rappelled down to the bottom. Not a bad climb. It took me 10 minutes. Yince was up next. I had her tie the rope to her harness using a figure-8 knot and made sure it was done right. Then gave her some tips on climbing. Most people think that climbing is all arms, and sometimes it is, but try to use your feet as much as possible and make sure that you keep 3 points of contact with the rock at all times. If or when you fall, just relax and make sure you don't get caught on the rock. The rope is like a big spring and will cushion your falls. I gave her a hug and kiss for luck, and she started the climb, with me on belay. With Yince's gung-ho attitude and her excellent physical conditioning, she made it to the top without a fall. In fact, she made it look easy. And she really loved when I rappelled her down because I did it really fast. She was her usual exuberant self, dancing and hopping around. Woohoo! My first climb ever. That was so much fun. I bet it's almost as much fun as... I interrupted her. Sex? You're right. It's right up there with shooting. The other 4 looked at us like we were crazy. We got the other 4 up the climb, but it wasn't easy with the ladies. I had to pull them up quite a bit, and of course, Sally broke her nail and got pissed off. She whined and carried on when she came down. Jim didn't know what to do, so Yince took her off to the side and had a talk with her. When they came back, Sally was better and even looked a bit scared. "I want to apologize to all of you for getting so upset. Please forgive me." Jim looked at his wife, and his mouth fell open. I walked up to Yince and whispered, "You told her your father was the general, didn't you?" She nodded her head, and that if she screwed up this vacation, they would be reassigned to Thule, Greenland. She nodded again. I just laughed and held her close. "Thanks, my love, for taking care of this. Well, I'm certainly not going to let a stuck-up bitch from New York frickin' City ruin my vacation, especially since we're paying for it." I also told her that she's damn lucky that we decided to let them come. Otherwise, she would be sitting on her fat butt at home, Yince said. I opened the cooler and poured Sally a nice glass of wine. "Thanks for at least trying to climb. Sorry you broke your nail. Tell you what, climbing isn't for everyone. So why don't you take it easy and enjoy some wine and cheese and crackers? Just so you know, my policy is that once you take a drink of alcohol, you're done climbing for the day." She took the glass, thanked me for it, and looked relieved that she wouldn't have to climb anymore. After a while, we got tired of vegetable crack and wanted something a little more challenging. I thought about doing a 5.10, but the jump from a 5.7 to a 5.10 is pretty difficult. I finally decided on a nice 5.8 called Chunky Monkey. It's an overhanging crack climb, so it was going to take a different skill set, but I felt that it was doable by everyone. I decided to use trad and to climb the rope up. Again, I thought about free climbing it, but I decided to placate Yints. 15 minutes later, I was to the top and back down with no problem. Yints was up next and made a wrong move and blew off the rock. I heard, shit, shit, shit. Then, I know what I did wrong. I'm going to lower you down about 10 feet. Try it again, I answered. She cleared the climb this time. Interestingly enough, Matt and Jim both fell twice, and Molly couldn't get past the crux, but she at least tried it 3 times. She didn't even complain when she broke a nail. Sally had finished off most of one of the bottles of wine, and she was feeling pretty good. At least she wasn't an obnoxious drunk. We were done for the day and celebrated with a glass of wine and some cheese and crackers. We were running a little late, so I decided that this would be our lunch. Besides, I don't ride bike well on a full stomach. I could tell that Yinst had her fill of Sally, and I'd had my fill of Jim. So we decided to ride in the Mustang and let the other 4 ride together in Matt's car. Partway to the ranch, Matt's car quickly pulled over to the side of the road and Sally jumped out and ran into the ditch and puked. Yinst looked over at me and said, "What a stupid bitch. She thinks she's God's gift to men. Matt should drive off and leave her there." "Why are you so pissed at her, my love?" I asked. She acted like I was some sort of freak for still being a virgin. I guess she had been giving it away since she was 13 and couldn't understand that I wasn't a 304 like her. She loved telling Molly and me how she has always used sex to control men, to get them to do anything she wanted them to. She tricked Jim into marrying her by telling him she was pregnant. And she even admitted that when Jim is deployed, she screws the hell out of any man that she can. Yints was as pissed as I have ever seen her. I hate people like that. I have no use for them. I thought about all that Yints had said, and it reminded me of when Jugs cheated on me during basic training. Yints looked over at me, her eyes glistening. "I'm sorry, my love. I made you remember about Jugs. Please don't be sad." I shook my head. "You know, that's exactly what happened. But for the first time ever, I'm not sad. In fact, I'm so damn happy that I can't believe it. If I would have married that bitch, I'd be in the same place Jim is now. She would have been screwing anything while I was in Iraq. Not only that, if I would have married her, I never would have met you." She smiled at me, reached over and grabbed my hand, leaned over and gave me a smoking hot kiss. "You really are over Jugs?" "No more Jugs. Not now, not ever again. I wasted too many years and too many beers on Jugs when all the time I was waiting to find you." She crawled across the center console, sat in my lap, and snuggled up to my neck. "I'm so in love with you. I don't know how it's possible, but every day I love you more." Sally was finally done with her Technicolor yawn and was heading back to the car. Yints whispered, "I wonder if you can drive with me in your lap," punctuating with another kiss. "I don't think that I can." "You better move back over and buckle up," I answered. Soon, we were back on the road for our Kualoa Ranch mountain bike ride. They had crappy rental bikes for us to use. I thought of the Cannondale Jekyll mountain bike that was destroyed with the cabin. I was going to miss that bike, but in the midst of my regret, I realized how fitting it was that my cabin was destroyed and everything with it. I felt that my life had started over since I've met Yints. Everything from the past is gone. The cabin and everything being destroyed was a symbol of my life. I felt like a phoenix rising from the ashes. Yints caught my eye and smiled. Then she came over and gave me a big hug and kiss. "Yes, you're my phoenix. You really are over everything. I couldn't have done it without you. Thank you, my love." I returned her kiss. Sally was in no shape to bike ride, so Jim took Matt's car and drove back to the hotel. The rest of us had a great time riding, though compared to the trails around Leadville, these were cake. It was perfect for Yints, Matt, and Molly. Feeling my oats, I showed off by doing wheelies and nosewheel stands. I even did one 6-foot drop-off that almost broke the rental bike and got yelled at by Yints. All too soon, it was time to head back to the hotel. Yints and Molly took the back seat of the Mustang, which was good. I'm not sure that Matt could have fit. When we got to the hotel, Yints was still pissed at Sally, so she sent them both back to the base. I talked to Matt and told him what was going on tonight, and he just smiled. "I'm going to get lucky again tonight." "Thanks again. You guys are the best." "So my love," Yints said after they'd left, "what's the big surprise for tonight?" "You and I need to get cleaned up and dressed for dinner. Take about 30 minutes. You go first in the bathroom." I answered. After I was sure Yints was in the bathroom, I hightailed it over to Matt and Molly's room and used their shower. Then I rushed back to my room and got dressed in my favorite black Hugo Boss suit. Room service showed up with our dinner while Yince was still in the bathroom, and I had them set it up on the balcony, lit the candles, and left. I closed the curtains on the balcony and waited for Yince to finish. When she came out of the bathroom, it was worth the wait. She emerged wearing an elegant black sheath with a very deep V neckline, accented by a single strand of pearls and a matching bracelet and earrings. I whistled when she came out. Pinch me. I must be dreaming. You're more beautiful each time I see you. She smiled and looked at me questioningly. You look good enough to eat. You're already cleaned up and dressed? Yep, I used Matt and Molly's shower. I bowed. Are you ready for dinner? I'm famished, Yince replied. I walked over and took her hand, and we started walking towards the balcony. She looked puzzled until I opened the curtains, and she saw the table and the candles. Then she smiled and her face lit up. I said, this short time off has been great, but I've really missed being alone with just you. I called the base, and we don't have to report until tomorrow morning at 0900. Until then, I plan on us spending all our time alone together. Wow, this is so nice. I hope I don't cry and ruin my makeup, Yince answered. Don't worry. If you do, I'll be the only one that sees it. She smiled and cupped my cheek with her hand. But you're the only one who matters. I helped Yince into her chair and opened the bottle of champagne the correct way, by turning the bottle, not the cork, so I didn't lose any of the bubbly. Then I poured us each a splash and sat down across from her. I raised my glass and said, come live with me and be my love. And we will all the pleasures prove that valleys, groves, or hills, or fields, or woods and steepy mountains yield. We clinked out glasses, and Yince replied, grow old with me. The best is yet to be, the last of life, for which the first is made. We clinked our glasses again and both drank. I refilled our glasses. My love, do you trust me? I asked. Implicitly, Yince answered without a second's pause. I took out a silk blindfold, covered Yince's eyes with it, and said, tonight, I'm going to feed you. Then I took the linen napkin and covered the front of Yince with it. I don't want to ruin your dress. Make sure you keep your hands in your lap and let me do everything, I said. I started off feeding her a really nice arugula and pear salad with creamy gorgonzola, candied walnuts, and pancetta lardons, seasoned and drizzled with a balsamic reduction and extra virgin olive oil. This is so good. I've never had a salad like that before. What's in it? It's just a salad to prepare your palate for the meal to come, I answered. This is much more than just a salad. It's the best salad I ever had, Yince remarked. I cut a piece of the pear and moved it up to her mouth and rubbed it on her lips. She tried to take it off the fork, but I kept pulling it back. She pouted, hey, that's no fair. I want that. The next time, I let her win, and she reveled in the taste of the pear. Wow, a salad with pears in it. This is incredible. For the next bite, I felt ornery. I put a fourth of the pear on the fork, moved it up to her mouth, and acted like I was going to tease her again. She opened her mouth, and I pushed the whole bite in. She couldn't talk because her mouth was so full. You'd better not do that again, or I'll take of this blindfold, she complained. I took an ice cube out of her water glass with my fingers and moved it up to her lips. She jumped. Hey, that's cold. Then she opened her mouth, and I slipped it inside. I finished off the salad and gave her a drink of water. With the appetizer done, it was time to move on to the main entree. I had chosen Chilean sea bass en papillote, a delicate sea bass fillet with vegetables julienne, chablis, and butter, wrapped in parchment and baked. It smelled wonderful when I opened the parchment. Yince took in the aroma and smiled. Oh, I smell something really good. I gave her a bite. I think I've died and gone to heaven. This fish just melts in my mouth. What is this? It's Chilean sea bass that has been prepared with sliced vegetables and a butter anchovy sauce. Then it's wrapped in parchment and baked. I fed her several more bites, each one followed by another moan. Then I changed and gave her a bite of the vegetables. She took it in her mouth and savored it. Oh, that's not the fish. It tastes like vegetables. I took a champagne flute and placed it against her lips. She laughed. Those bubbles tickle my nose, and she took a couple of sips, clearing her mouth of the food. Again I picked up some fish. Her senses had improved. She could smell the food coming and opened her mouth. She let the delicate flavor roll across her tongue. It had taken close to 30 minutes, but the main entree was done. I placed the champagne flute against her lips one last time, and she drained the glass. I took another ice cube and rubbed it on her lips, and this time she didn't jump. When she opened her mouth, I leaned over and gently kissed her. I had my eyes open watching her expressions, and caught movement in my peripheral vision as she started to bring her hands up towards me. I pulled away. Hey, keep your hands in your lap or the meal is over. I knew that Yince really liked chocolate, so for dessert, I chose a chocolate mousse cake made with dense, moist chocolate cake set in vanilla sauce with raspberry and habanero coulis, and a very nice tawny port to go with it. Chocolate cake. She tilted her head. No, wait. It's more than that. This is so yummy and decadent, Yince squealed. I gave her a sip of the port. That drink goes so well with this cake. What is it? It's a tawny port. It's made for a dessert like this, just like we are made for each other. I picked up some of the raspberries and habanero coulis this time and placed it in her mouth. Wow, that's spicy, but very tasty. I gave her another little sip of the port. Between the sauce and the port, I'm getting really hot, she remarked. It was time for another ice cube. Teasing her lips until she was almost panting for the ice cube, I finally slipped it between her lips. She said, "This is a wonderful and tasty meal, but you taste the best to me." When she'd eaten the last bite, asked her, "Are you full, my love?" "I am so full." "That was fantastic, very erotic. Can I take off the blindfold yet?" "Not yet, my fiancé. I'm not through. You stay here and don't move." I went inside and turned on some nice, slow dancing music, went back to the balcony, and lead Yince into the room. I took her in my arms, she melded her body to mine, and we started dancing. Every once in a while, I kissed and nibbled her neck, sending little shudders through her body. Finally, she said, "If you keep this up, I'm going to rip your clothes off and take you right here on the floor." Patience, my love. Just think of how much better it will be when we're married. And after all this anticipation, I answered, but I knew she was serious, so I did cool things down a little bit. After 3 or 4 dances, it was getting a little late. I removed the blindfold. "It's time to get ready for bed, my love," I told her. The look of love in her eyes was almost scary. She slipped her arms around my neck. "You do know that you drove me totally wild. It was so erotic. You have me so hot that I don't know if I can sleep. It's a good thing that you slowed up when you did, or I was going to assault you. I can't wait for you to do this when we're married. Don't think that you're the only one that this got all hot," I said. "In fact, you had better sleep in your pajamas tonight. Why don't you go take the first cold shower, and I'll follow you." I walked her to the bathroom, and she gave me a smoldering kiss before she closed the door. While she was freezing herself into submission, I had room service come and pick up the dinner service. After about 15 minutes, she came out in just a towel. "I forgot my pajamas," she explained, and walked over to the dresser. She pulled them out, looked at me over her shoulder, and dropped the towel to the floor. I don't know how she did it, but she made dressing in her underwear and flannel PJs look sexy. She had me even hotter by the time she was done. "Oh, looks like someone like that," she laughed, looking at the bulge in my crotch. "I guess you'd better take that cold shower." This time, Yince was awake when I got out of the shower. "Come, my love, and lie by me on the bed." She patted the mattress beside her. We had some serious cuddle time that night. "So, mister," she said when I'd lain down, "I want to know how many other women you've tortured with a dinner like this." She pretended to be upset. I brushed a stray hair from her cheek. "None. I read about it somewhere once and told myself that when the right lady came along I would have to try it. That earned me a big kiss and an earnest request. I want you to do this for me after we're married, but I want it to be a total surprise. I guarantee you that the night you do, you will get so lucky." We continued talking and cuddling until Yince finally dropped off to sleep. As I held her close and listened to her soft snores, I thought, life doesn't get any better than this. Kadaba, Pakistan, evening of day 12. I actually got some decent sleep last night, as decent as a person can, being tied to the ceiling. With the lights on, only one rat came out, and I saw him coming. I kicked that scumsucker so hard that he splattered against the wall. It was great having uninterrupted dreams about Yince. God, I miss her. Someday I hope to get back to her, but I'm not sure it will ever happen. They seem to have decided on using the narcotics on me. I'm pretty sure it's some mix of sodium pentothal and opium, because I get pretty high from it. It's inconceivable to me that they don't know all the answers I'm giving them are bullshit. Perhaps they don't care and hope that if they keep me talking, sooner or later I'll tell them who I am. The only thing I'm going to tell them is how to die. They had a girl come in late today, and she took my clothes and gave me a bath and some clean pants. She even dressed the rat bites on my feet and legs. She isn't Pakistani. She has almond-shaped eyes and a lighter skin color. She must be about 14 or 15, and she is quite pretty. I tried talking to her, but she didn't know English and replied in a language I didn't recognize. She returned this evening and gave me as much of a delicious lamb dish as I wanted. not knowing when I'd get this kind of meal again. I ate as much as I could without overdoing it. I learned her name is Zurika, and I told her mine was Alfred E. Newman. I hated lying to her, but I figured anything I said would probably be passed along to the others. Then the guards came in and tied me up to the ceiling again. There is never just one of them. I think they know that the day there is, they'll all die. And they left the lights on again, so there will be fewer rats, and I'll stay awake a bit longer to bolster my morale with thoughts of home. Kaneohe Bay, Hawaii, Monday, day 9. I woke to the sensation of Yince kissing the back of my neck. Her body felt so good pressed against my back. I pretended to be asleep. Ben, wake up my lovely man. We need to get up and head back to the base, Yince whispered softly in my ear. I kept my eyes closed. Come on, sleepyhead. I know you're awake. I still didn't move, so she stuck her tongue in my ear. That made me jump. She laughed and nudged my shoulder. That'll teach you to pretend that you're asleep. And now I know how to tickle you. I rolled over and hugged her. Good morning, my flaxen-haired tormentor. How are you this morning? Now that you finally woke up, I'm doing great. You do know it's 07:30? Shit, I said, and tried to jump out of bed, but Yince held me tight. Oh no, you don't. I'm not letting you out of bed until I get at least 5 minutes of cuddling, she insisted. It ended up being more like 10 minutes, and I realized that I really enjoyed cuddling with Yince, something that I'd never enjoyed with anyone else. Yince nuzzled into me. I enjoy cuddling with you too. I didn't say that, did I? I asked. Nope, but I could tell what you were feeling, Yince replied and kissed me again. This is going to take some getting used to. I've never had another person inside my head. Don't worry, my love. It seems that I can only tell what you are thinking and feeling when you let me. I had no idea about last night. Somehow you kept it a total surprise from me, and I'm so glad that you did. It was such a wonderful surprise, Yince replied. I shook my head in amazement. I'm still not sure how this whole thing has happened, where we seem to be able to tell what each other are feeling. You do seem to be much better at it than I am. I have to try to make it happen, and with you it just seems natural. Well, you did say I was a witch. Perhaps this is part of my mystical power, she laughed. I'm just kidding. I'm not sure how it happened, but I have to say, for years I've been wishing that I could know what you're thinking, and now most of my wishes come true. I think that you could do better figuring out my thoughts and feelings if you practiced. Well, if Dr. Donaldson can't figure it out, a poor Marine like me doesn't stand a chance, I said. Hey, if you're the brains of this outfit, does that make me the beauty? I started laughing. No, Yince replied. I'm the brains and the beauty of this outfit, and you're the boss and the brawn. I'm the boss? I asked. Without a doubt, you most certainly are. I'm not a feminazi, and I never will be. I'm perfectly comfortable with you being my boss. I'll do anything, as she rubbed her lower belly against me. You tell me to do because I know that you're such a kind and caring man and that you listen to me and value my opinion. Because of that, I can totally trust you. I'm sure that you've been told I was headstrong. I was, and I needed to be until we got together. Now I can let go of that, and let you wear the pants in this family. She brought my hand to her lips for a soft kiss. I'm not saying that we'll agree on everything. There will come a time that you'll make a decision that I don't like. I'll let you know why I don't like it, and maybe even suggest something else. But if you say your decision is final, I'll follow you and support you in it. While I was letting this revelation soak in, she continued, don't you realize that I've already been doing that? First, I've honored your decision about waiting until we're married to make love. I'm sure that if I worked hard enough, or got you drunk enough, I could seduce you. Second, I've honored your decision about me not resigning the Corps to become your wife. I was very proud of you when you made that decision for me. It was the right decision. Third, I've taken a rank lower than yours, and I always will stay at a rank lower than yours. Fourth, I love to serve you, to make your meals and to wash your clothes and to take care of you. I can be this way because I trust that you will never take it for granted. Shall I continue? Yince asked. I stared at her, opened my mouth, but couldn't think what to say. Yince just lay there patiently waiting for me. Finally I said, Yince, I'm sorry I'm so thick-headed sometimes. Now that you've pointed it out, I can see your devotion in the way that you treat me and in everything that you do. I'm not sure that I'm worthy of such adoration, and it makes me uncomfortable. It's a lot to live up to. I can't promise you that I won't make mistakes, but I can promise you that I'll try my best to justify the trust you have given me. She gave me a big kiss. I trust you, my love, and I'm not worried. You'll always make the right choices for us, and I'll always support those choices. Then my first decision today is to get up and head back to base. I acted like it was an order. Yince jumped out of bed, gave me a mock salute and said, as you order, I will do. I got up and started to get things packed while Yinz took care of bathroom duty. While I was packing, I had time to mull over what Yinz had just told me. Again, she had totally amazed me, and you would think by now I would be used to it. The more I found out about her, and the more we were together, the more I loved her. I felt very humbled, and I made a promise to myself to never take advantage and to never take for granted the trust that she had placed in me. She truly was the only woman in the world for me. Yinz came out of the bathroom with one of her million-dollar smiles. There's not a single doubt in my mind. It will be wonderful to be in your hands. I ran over and hugged her tight, picked her up, and swung her around. I love you, Yinz. You are the most perfect woman in the world. I gave her a big kiss. We fell back on the bed and continued our embraces and kisses. Finally, I said, well, we're too late for breakfast. I guess I'll just have to live on love. Yinz smiled, jumped up and went over to her bag and pulled out a Ziploc bag full of Hudson Bay bread. You didn't think that I would be unprepared for little contingencies like this, did you? She handed me 2 big bars. I can't have my big, strong Marine missing breakfast and getting weak. I hadn't had any Hudson Bay bread since the Leadville race, and just seeing it again almost made me drool. I wolfed down the 2 bars, and Yinz said, damn, you sure do like that stuff. Would you like some more? She handed me 2 more bars. Thanks for this, and for taking such good care of me, I said when I'd swallowed. I love and live to serve you, she replied, and her loving gaze left me no doubt as to her sincerity. Not wanting to waste time on the bellboys, I said, well, the brawn of this unit better hump the gear to the car. Be a doll and call Matt and Molly and have them meet us at the cars. Anything for you, babe, Yinz answered. On the way back to the base, Yinz was enjoying the top being down and the wind blowing through her hair. You know, my fiancé, this is our anniversary. It's been 1 week since we started living together. I seem to remember that. It seems like it has been longer, I replied. So, any regrets about this last week? Yinz asked. I only have one. That is that I didn't meet you sooner, I answered, bringing her hand up for a kiss. She squeezed my hand and smiled at me. The time wasn't right and it wouldn't have worked out. She was right. Damn, she's always right. It's nice not having to be the brains of this unit. We dropped the car off at the rental agency. I think we were both sad to see it go. We'd created a lot of fond memories in it. Then, we hopped into Matt and Molly's car and drove back to the base. They dropped us at our house. We said our goodbyes and made plans to get together for dinner soon. I humped the gear into the proper rooms, and Yinz told me she would unpack it later. I grinned at Yinz. Well, I could sure get used to that kind of weekend. So could I, Yinz replied. I want you to know that you totally spoiled me all weekend. I've never felt like a princess before. I can't wait to call Mom and tell her everything. I answered, well, now that we are back in the Corps, we have work to do first. We need to report into the BCO and see if he has any orders for us, and then we need to do PT. Let's be ready to roll in 15 minutes. We changed into our MCCUU and ran over for our meeting with the BCO. Sergeant Donaldson, I wanted to thank you again for all the traps that you set up in the training area. The whole base except for you two and your bodyguards have been using it all weekend. They've become much more proficient at finding and dealing with booby traps. I'm sure this will translate directly into lives saved when our men go into combat. With that, the meeting was over. We stood at attention and saluted our BCO, then headed out to do PT. Let's go burn off some of your energy, I teased. After the late PT, it was time for lunch, so we ran back home. Yinz made us some lentil soup and grilled bacon and cheese sandwiches. I was so hungry I ate 2 sandwiches. Yinz was smiling at me the whole meal. Finally, I asked, what are you smiling about? I love taking care of you and I love watching you eat, she replied. Thank you, my fiancé, for taking such good care of me. You've really spoiled me. I smiled back at her. So, what's next for today? She asked. I thought we would play a little game at the training grounds. I like to call it, Snipe Me If You Can. Here's how it works. It's me against you. We enter at opposite sides of the training area, and we see who kills whom the most. There is still going to be training going on, so we also get to kill any other targets of opportunity, which will probably cause real havoc among the troops. Each troop kill counts as 1. Each sniper kill counts as 5. To make things fair, we won't be using our 98 Bravos. Instead, we will be using our M4S. Yinz said, I can't wait to win. Let's go. She jumped up and cleaned up the dishes while I went into the extra bedroom and opened the gun safes and set up the M4S with the sniper simulation system. Yinz came in after a few minutes. I looked at her and smiled. Nice modification that you had done to the M4S. I always hated 223. So what are these? 300 Whisper? She smiled, surprise. Nope. They're actually 338 Whisper, which is even better. It gives you more range. I knew you hated 223, and while you will only get about 500 meters out of these, that's all you should need with an M4. I sighted them in for 200 meters. They're so cool to shoot. When you put the suppressor on them, they hardly make any noise. I squeezed her shoulders with one arm. Well, my love, thank you for the wonderful surprise. I can hardly wait to take them out to the real range and try them. They should be great for today's training. We loaded up the Humvee and drove over to the training area and checked in. The training RSO made sure that our weapons were set up with the sniper simulation system, announced over the tactical radio that snipers were entering the training area, and gave us the authorization to enter. I let Jens take the main entrance and a head start, and I drove around to the back entrance. By the time I got there, Jens already had 4 kills and the platoons were upset. Normally, I would have just headed right into the training area, but my Jens is one sneaky woman, and I thought that she might have ran across the training area just to see if she could catch me. So, I took a couple of minutes to get ready, all the time watching the immediate area. My cautiousness paid off. One bunch of plants didn't look or feel quite right to me. I walked over to the training area in my ghillie suit, and right as I got to the entrance, I ran in and rolled, came up, and fired a quick shot. The M4 made a nice zing sound and nailed her a good one. Shit. I heard Jens say in my tactical radio. How did you see me? Your ghillie suit is good, but didn't quite look right to me, I answered. We'll work on it later. You have 10 minutes to clear the area, then I'm going to come and get you. She started moving off, and I beat feet as far north as I could. I wanted to get to high ground before Jens did. Shit. I forgot about the booby traps and one got me. Jens's voice came over my radio. I guess you forgot about the booby traps in your hurry to get to high ground. Does that count as a kill for me? She gave an evil laugh. Not today, Jens. Booby traps don't count, I answered. She knew I was going to head for high ground, so I was in a quandary and wasn't quite sure what to do. If I headed to the high ground, she could be waiting there for me, but she also might plan on me doing just the opposite. I needed to come up with something totally random, and I had to think about this. I hunkered down in a safe place in my ghillie suit to think. As luck would have it, while I was waiting, a patrol started walking by below me. I jacked a new fake mag into the M4, started shooting, and all hell broke loose in the patrol. All 8 died in just over a minute. I was rocking and rolling now, and I was up by 1 on Jens, who had made another 4 kills. After I made the 8 kills, I moved because my location was compromised. The tactical radio was so full of chatter it was almost useless. There were patrols chasing phantom snipers everywhere, and of course they'd forgotten about the traps and were getting killed by them. Jens' radio cut through on my private channel. So, what's a recon kill worth? Shit. They're worth 2 each, I begrudgingly answered. I got 3 of them, she said. Then, shit, they see me and I have to move. Damn, she was now 1 kill ahead of me. There had to be some way to beat her. The best strategy that I could think of was almost unheard of for a sniper. The whole training area was looking for snipers in ghillie suits, and that's just what I would give them. I went to the central part of the training area where 5 trails converged and set my ghillie suit up so it could be seen if you looked really hard. Then I moved off about 400 m, dug in under some bushes, and waited. It didn't take long until a patrol came by. They weren't very good. They didn't see the suit, and I gathered in another 8 kills. I keyed Jens. 21 kills now. See if you can do better. Shit, you're ahead of me again, even with the recon kills. By the way, they're really good. Almost caught me. Be careful. Gotta go. I see more dead meat. She answered. Luck was smiling on me that day. Another patrol was approaching. By the way they were moving, I could tell they were recons, and they were really good recons. This should be fun. One of them threw a hand signal, and they all dropped to the ground. They'd seen the decoy ghillie suit, and were sneaking up on it. Time to take them out. They were so focused on going after the decoy that I got all 8 of them. They were pissed, but they still didn't see me. Ben, what the hell did you just do? The radio is full of pissed-off Marines, Jens asked over the radio. Nothing much. I just took out the whole recon patrol and added 16 to my score for a total of 35. I replied nonchalantly. Damn, Jens said. You must be lucky. I have another 5 for a total of 19. I had a good location and no one had seen me yet. So I just played turtle until someone came along and then rose up a little and took them out. It was like shooting fish in a barrel. From the sound of things, Jens was moving around, probably trying to find me. She ran into the recons again and killed them all this time. I called her on the radio. Well, that's a bunch of pissed-off recons. Don't tell me you killed them all? Sure did, she replied. They were upset that you killed all of them and had gotten sloppy. That was nice. It brought me up to 42 kills. Not bad for a rookie, I said, taunting her. Of course it's not like my 59 kills. Shit, Where are you? We only have 30 minutes left, and I want to at least kill you once. I wasn't going to tell her where I was, but I sure knew where she was. That sneaky little woman was in her ghillie suit and was stalking my decoy ghillie suit. Damn, she was really good, going slow. She had her back to where I was, so I figured that I had a great chance, if I was real quiet, of sneaking up on her and knifing her. I slipped out of my hiding place and slowly started crawling up behind her. She kept creeping closer to my decoy, but I was gaining on her. Shit, that sneaky woman wasn't going to shoot me. She was going to knife me. She kept getting closer and closer. Finally, I hear her whisper in her radio. So, how much is a knife kill on a sniper worth? I replied, why don't you tell me? I whacked her twice on the legs with my K-bar, scaring the shit out of her. She jumped up, turned around, and saw me grinning. Shit, shit, shit. She swore. You sneaky devil dog, you. Your suit was a decoy. I stood up, and ding, 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 my vest went off. The recons that were stalking me and had just killed me started cheering. Now it was my turn. Son of a bitch. I didn't even see them. Jens answered, neither did I. I was too busy trying to kill you. The recons ran over, glad that they had finally killed at least one of us. One of them said, watching her stalk your ghillie suit and then seeing you come out of your hiding place and stalk her was awesome. It was a shame to have to shoot you, but we're finally glad to have at least one once. We all shook hands and parted. The recons headed back to the main entrance, and Jens and I walking towards the back entrance. We were both pretty quiet. Finally I said, I'm pissed that I let the recons sneak up on me. It was a rookie mistake. I was too distracted stalking you, and I didn't pay enough attention. Yeah, Jens said, try being knifed by another sniper, in front of the recons. I'm so embarrassed. I guess we both learned an important lesson today, I replied, and I know I won't let us do this again. Jens smiled, neither will I. So how many points does a knife kill count? Double the normal points, I answered. So I got 10 points for knifing you, bringing my total to 69. Jens gave me a wicked look. I like that number. I hear that it's so erotic. I realized what she meant and started blushing. She laughed. You're so cute when you blush. That made it even worse, but it broke us out of our funky mood. When we reached the parking lot, an LC told us that we were to report to the BCO ASAP. Shit. This is why I'll never become an officer. I hate all the political bullshit. All I wanted to do was head home with Jens, get cleaned up and eat, and then spend the rest of the evening holding her. When we arrived at the BCO, we heard Brigadier General Thompson giving someone a real butt chewing. Man, he was really pissed off. We waited patiently until he was done, and then the LC ushered us into his office. We hadn't had time to clean up, so we were both a sight to see in our face paint and our MCCUU caked in sweat and mud. Shit, we were even making a mess out of his office. BG Thompson didn't even say anything about it as he started in. Goddamned son of a bitch, I'm pissed off. Jens looked shocked, and I wondered what the hell we'd done wrong. The BG noticed our looks and said, excuse me, I guess I need to explain. I'm not pissed at either of you. In fact, once again, you two have done a great service for the Corps. I'm just pissed that 2 snipers were able to kill 101 of my men before some recons got lucky and finally killed you. Ever since you two came here, you've been showing me what piss-poor training my men are getting, and I'm damn tired of it. I guess I've sat on my butt in this office too much. I have trusted my officers to train my men, and they've let me down. Today, that changes. I've canceled all leave for everyone, including both of you. We're going to have day and night training missions until I'm sure my men are ready to fight. Other than an hour in the morning for your PT and 2 hours in the afternoon for shooting practice, you'll be living at the training area, starting tonight. I don't care whether you want to work separately or as a team. In fact, it would probably be good if you mixed it up. But remember, we need to have my men trained by Friday if you two want any rest before the sniper competition on the following Monday. Now get out of here and muster any gear that you need. Report to the training area in 2 hours. We stood up and I asked, sir, permission to speak? BG Thompson shot me a look that said I'd better not give him any shit. Yes, sir. First I want to thank you for the trust you're showing us in helping to train your men. Both I and Sergeant Donaldson were more shocked than you were. Believe me when I say it was no fun for us, killing your men like that. I've seen 4 tours of duty in Iraq. I know what it's like over there. And I know how many of your men would needlessly die. I thought I saw BG Thompson start to smile, so I continued. Sergeant Donaldson and I feel that training your men properly is the most important job that we have. Yes, the BG was smiling now. Much more important than our PT, so we will not need time for that. And also, sir, I want to say that we're ready for the sniper competition, so we don't need the shooting practice. The The BG was actually looking happy, but I wasn't done. Sir, we would like to spend as many days as you tell us living in the training area and training your men. It'll be excellent training for us and will further unite us as a team. In fact, if we can't have your men trained by the sniper competition, then to hell with the competition. This is more important. The BG actually looked shocked. I probably should have shut my mouth, but I wasn't done yet. Sir, Sergeant Donaldson and I request 3 hours to muster all of our gear. We would also like to ask that we be allowed to call in to be resupplied. I was finally done. The BG looked at me, looked at Yince, and asked, Sergeant Donaldson, do you have any problems with what Sergeant Blaine has just told me? Jin answered, no, sir. I am Bonsai's spotter. I live to serve him and I follow his orders. He looked at both of us. Well, shit. Here I figured I was in for a fight from both of you, and now you've done an about face. I'm almost speechless. Bonsai, he finally simmered down and was friendly again. I don't know what has gotten into you. You used to be the hardest-headed son of a bitch that I ever met, and you never wanted to train any troops. Now you're offering to live in the training area. I don't believe it. He faced Yince. And Yince, ever since I've known you, you have always been independent, and it was hell getting you to follow orders. Now you're telling me that you serve Bonsai and will do anything he tells you to do. He looked back at me. Did you brainwash this young woman? Permission to speak freely, sir, Yince and I said at the same time. The BG looked puzzled and said, please do. I started, sir. Yince has shown me. Yince interrupted. And Ben has shown me. We continued together, that we have both been foolish and selfish in the past with our attitudes towards the Corps. My turn. We would both. Yince continued, like to apologize for the problems that we've caused in the past. Again we spoke together. We've both committed our lives, first to each other, and then to making the world better through our service in the Corps. I started. I'll be retiring in 10 years. Yince said, so will I. We finished together. And we want to make this world as safe for our future children as it can be. The better the Corps is, the safer our children will be. The BG was visibly shaken and sat down in his chair. Oh, sit down you two. What the hell did I just see and hear? I mean, I saw it with my own eyes and heard it with my own ears, but I don't believe it. Yince explained it as well as she could to him, and he just sat there and shook his head. Well, shit, the BG said. I still don't understand what the hell that was, but I'm not going to worry about it for now. You have your 3 hours. Now, go, you devil dogs, and train the hell out of my men. We stood, saluted, left his office, and drove the Humvee to logistics to pull some more supplies. I caught some crap from the sergeant in charge about paperwork, until I called the BG and he chewed her butt. Then we headed to our house. Yince was all business. You start emptying the gun safes. We should have everything except your personal guns. Don't forget the NV, night vision gear. I'm going to get the laptop and the solar panel for it and start packing the MREs that we just picked up. Then I think we should both take a shower, and I'll cook us the last home-cooked meal we'll have for a while. We were ready in 2 hours. Yince went over everything one more time and said with a smile, well, honey, are you ready to go on our first camping trip? I love camping, and I'm great at it. Wait till you see how well I take care of you. You're going to be so spoiled. I had never been camping with a woman other than my mom. I had no idea what to expect, so I hugged her and said, you've already spoiled me. I could never be with another woman because there isn't any other woman as great as you are. I want to kiss her cheek, but she turned into it. You drive, honey, she said. I want to go over some tactical plans on the way to the training area. With that, she was lost in the computer. I heard it playing the wedding march more often than the Pac-Man death song, so that was encouraging. We reached the training area at 1600, and Yince took over. She told the RSO that we needed all the weapons set up with the sniper simulation system. He'd been expecting it and had an armorer there, so she must have called. She called me over to a table, pulled up the maps. The training doesn't officially start until 2400, and we'll need all of that time to get ready. Here's what we need to do. She explained her plans. I spent the next 3.5 hours being the brawn of the group and humping gear the positions that Yince told me to, camouflaging and booby-trapping it. Yince had decided that for the time being, we would work as a team. Later, if needed, we would split up to confuse the enemy. We had half an hour before the games began. Yince said, let's go to position Alpha and set up for the start. We beat feet as well as we could to reach the location in time. This wasn't an easy run because we were both carrying a full Alice pack, a 98 Bravo, and an M4. We were each carrying about 50 kg. Yince led the way so we wouldn't kill ourselves in one of her traps, so we made it to Alpha with about 10 minutes to spare. We crawled under a ghillie tent that blocked all infrared radiation. So once we were under the tent, we were invisibly even to NV gear. I set up the spotting scopes and both 98 Bravos. I had a scope and 98 Bravo on the two main entrances. Yinz opened up her pack, pulled out her laptop and what looked like a small satellite dish, connected the two, and turned it on. It hardly made any light. She logged in, typed a while, and got all excited. We have eyes and ears. Shit, they even have an AWACS up for this. She showed me the computer. This is real-time tactical feeds from satellites and the AWACS that's been tasked for the exercise. I've passively tapped into the Milnet, so they don't know that I'm intercepting and decrypting their intel. This isn't totally legal. Make sure you don't tell anyone about this. Not now, not ever. She continued, the exercise starts in 2 minutes, but I figure the booby traps will take care of everyone for at least 3 hours. Let's try to get some sleep. The computer will warn us if anyone approaches within 1,000 meters. She reached over and typed some commands on the computer and snuggled up close to me. The tactical radio squawked. The training exercise is now commencing. Yinz switched our tactical radios off and gave me a kiss. Good night, my love. Sleep well. We'll need it. Good night, my amazing fiancé. Don't let the bedbugs bite. We both laughed and settled into sleep. Kadaba, Pakistan, morning of day 13. They left the lights on again last night, and no rats came at all. I slept all night and dreamed about Yinz and our training at Kaneohe Bay. Damn, that was a good time. So much different than now. Today, they have taken a totally different approach. They've tied me to a chair, but left my left arm free. What the hell are they up to now? The interpreter comes in, sits down at the table in front of me, and pulls out a chessboard. Perhaps we could play some chess, Mr. Newman? I'm not surprised to hear my name, but I'm a little bit disappointed to know that Zarika told them what I said. It would be nice to have a trustworthy friend. The interpreter continues as he sets up his pieces. Since we're becoming such good friends, perhaps I can call you Alfred and you can call me Mustaf? If you behave yourself, we will leave your left arm untied all day long. We play chess and talk until evening. Mustaf tries to get information out of me, and I feed him a constant stream of bullshit. I note with malicious satisfaction that he's eating it up. As dinner time nears, Zarika comes in. Mustaf sees me looking at her and grins, a nasty gleam in his eyes. Ah yes, Zarika is quite a pretty girl. She is 13, a prisoner from Tajikistan, and is currently the leader's favorite. But I am afraid that he is growing tired of her, and soon she will be given to the men, and after that the rats will get her. He calls Zarika over, and when she is standing in front of us, he orders her to go on her knees. She's embarrassed, but obeys. Mustaf continues, yes, a very pretty girl. It will be a shame to see her eaten by the rats. Perhaps if you cooperate, I can talk the leader into giving her to you. Would you like that? Think about it, Alfred, and let me know. Zarika gets up, cleans me up again, and feeds me some more lamb stew and a bunch of water. She undresses the rat bites on my feet and legs, cleans them thoroughly, and puts ointment and bandages on them. When she is done, I say, Balshoya spasiba. Thank you very much. Zarika blinks, looks at me and asks, Te gavri Paruski? Do you speak Russian? I reply, Yapanamave Paruski, Iniokan Harasho I Gavr Paruski, Chut Chut. I understand Russian not badly and speak Russian a little bit. We hear the guards coming, so that ends our conversation. They tie me up to the ceiling and leave the lights on for the night. Kaneohe Bay, Hawaii, Tuesday, day 10. What the hell? The Addams Family theme? Yinz raised up and looked at the computer. Wow, that was better than I hoped. We already have 114 kills and got 4 hours of sleep. Come on, big boy. It's time for you to get to work. The alarm means we have ghosts within 1,000 meters. That got my attention. I rose and gave Yinz a big hug and kiss. Time for me to do the voodoo I do so well. I looked at the computer and saw where the ghosts were. I grinned. This is going to be... Yinz finished, like shooting fish in a barrel. Yinz rolled over to her scopes, and I rolled over to the 98 Bravo. We both fired up the NV and I said, Range me, sweetheart. Yinz replied, You say the nicest things, my love. Multiple ghosts at 1,010 meters, elevation, -20, wind, 0. I did the calculations, set the scope, put the crosshairs on the first target, and tickled the trigger. 5 shots later, we had 5 kills. Range me again, my love. Yinz replied in her soft, sexy whisper, 4 ghosts at 1,100 meters, going away from us. Elevation, -15. Wind, 0. I made the adjustments, lined up the targets, and we had 4 more kills. I reloaded the rifle. Yinz was ecstatic. That was some damn fine shooting. They deserved it after waking me out of the dream I was having of our wedding. They had just started the wedding march and I was walking down the aisle. I just looked up and seen you when the damned alarm went off. She checked the computer. It looks like there are no more ghosts close enough to worry about. Let's eat some chow and go hunting. Yince made us the MREs and somehow made them quite tasty. Thanks, my dear. I don't know how you did it, but you even made this MRE taste good. Thanks, big boy, she replied. If you heat them right and use some of the seasonings, they aren't too bad. We finished up, brushed our teeth and did some other morning chores, and then grabbed our packs and guns. Yince tore down the computer and satellite dish and stowed it in her pack. We're blind now, so we'll need to be careful. Let's go reset the traps and take out some patrols. There was a platoon close, so we hurried to get in front of them. Yince was on one side of the trail and I was on the other. We let them walk into our trap and took them out with our suppressed M4S at 400 m. They never knew where we were or what hit them. One of the traps we came upon had been destroyed. Oh, Yince said with an evil laugh. Looks like someone got pissed off. We rebuilt the trap and moved on. By mid-morning, we had finished with most of the traps and had 52 kills already, most of them with the suppressed M4S. We found one group of recons and tailed them, knowing that if we didn't take care of them, they'd be trouble. Yince looked at me. Why don't you skirt them and get in front of them by about 200 meters and find a good place to start shooting them? I'll keep tailing them to let you know what they're doing. Then, when you're ready, we'll hit them from both sides. It sounded like a good plan to me, so I slipped around the side of the recon platoon, making sure to give them a very wide berth, and then took off running. Damn, I was almost where I wanted to be when I ran into another patrol. I was just able to drop to the ground before they saw me. Yince, I radioed. I just ran into another patrol. They didn't see me, so I'm going to take them out with the M4. Even suppressed, I'm sure the recons will hear me. When they start coming after me, you start taking them out from the back. I've got your butt. I mean your back, Yince said with a chuckle. Damn, I was glad to have the M4 with me. It had been the workhorse of the day. I slipped it off my back, took aim, and let the patrol have it. They started shouting and firing wildly everywhere. The brass was going to be pissed off about this. The recons did hear the fight and came up on the patrol. The patrol didn't know who they were and started shooting at the recons, so the recons started returning fire. I shook my head. This was Subar, screwed up beyond all recognition. I called Yince. You won't believe it. The patrol and the recons are fighting each other. I was wondering what all the shooting was about, she replied. I thought you were giving them a serious beatdown. Get in a good position, and let's wait until they stop shooting, I directed. If they hadn't been our men, the confusion would have been comical to watch. Finally, they figured out they were both on the same side and stopped shooting each other. The leader of the recons came up to chew some butt. I called Yince. Get ready to fire. As soon as the recon leader reached the patrol leader, I told Yince, fire. This time, we really unleashed on both of them. They were completely confused and thought they were shooting at each other again. By the time they figured it out, they were all dead. I was pissed at their ineffectiveness and I knew that the BG would be livid when he got our report on this. Well, that was too easy, Yince said. Let's regroup at location Bravo. I'm getting hungry and want to set up our tactical again. I didn't tell Yince, but I tailed her to Bravo just to make sure she didn't run into any problems. After she was safely at Bravo, I made a quick circuit of the area to make sure there were no ghosts near it. I called Yince on the radio. I'm coming in. Don't shoot me. She laughed. I don't know why you just didn't come on in when you followed me. Things were safe. I guess old habits die hard, I replied. Listen, mister. You had better start letting those old habits die. Remember that you're too predictable, and we need to change that, Yince answered. She was right, and I knew it. I went on in, and she greeted me with a hug and kiss. Sorry about being a little bitchy with you earlier. I interrupted her. There's nothing to be sorry about. I screwed up, and you were totally right. Thank you for pushing me and always making me better. I want you to continue to beat me over the head when I fall back into my old habits. I hugged her again and kissed her, letting her know everything was all right. Yince already had the computer and satellite dish set up and had even started heating the MREs. Damn, are you trying to spoil me? I asked. That's the plan, she replied, and continued studying the computer. I brought her MRE over when it was hot and handed it to her. Thanks, she said, still watching the screen. I'm a little puzzled, because the tactical situation is substantially different from this morning. Earlier, the patrols and platoons were so heavy, they were like fleas on a dog. Now most of them are gone. I don't think they're taking a break for lunch. They should do that in the area. I looked over her shoulder at the screen. So what are the stars in the middle of the screen? That's the BG and other brass. They're in here observing the exercises, she answered. I noticed a good number of troops around the brass and I laughed. I can't believe that for once I know what's going on and you don't. She turned and gave me a questioning look. Everyone has been sent out of the training area other than the platoon and patrol leaders. They're gathered around the BG, and he's chewing their butts for doing such a crappy job. Damn, I'm glad that I'm not in their boots. I laughed. How far away do you figure they are? And can we see them from here? Jens smiled and looked at me. You're right, that's exactly what's going on. Now that you told me, I can plainly see it. That's great analysis. She gave me a hot kiss and continued. They're about 2,500 meters away. We can't see them from here. However, if we move here, she pointed to a location, we will be about 1,800 meters and should be able to see them clearly. Oh, you sneaky devil dog. You want to go and shoot them while they're getting their butts chewed. That's a brilliant plan. To hell with lunch. Let's get going. We left everything other than the M107 Barrett that I had hidden, the ammo for it, and Jens's spotting scope at Bravo, and headed up to the point that Jens had indicated on the map. We quickly set up the Barrett and the scope, and sure enough, the BG was doing some serious butt chewing, and the men were weathering it standing at attention. I looked over at Jens and smiled. This was going to be fun. Range me, my love. Jen answered. You sneaky devil dog, I love you. Range, 1843 meters. Elevation, -15. Wind, 2 at 333. I made the scope adjustments, tucked the Barrett tight against my shoulder, took a full breath, let it out halfway, and gently squeezed the trigger. Great shot, my love, Jens said. Damn, you scared the crap out of the BG. You should have seen him jump. The BG was so shaken up he didn't release the men from attention, so I just kept shooting until I emptied the first 8-round mag and slammed in my second. Finally, the BG realized that his men were getting killed because they were still at attention, and he released them. Jens asked with an evil smile on her face, how many points for killing a BG? Shit, don't tell me he has a sensor vest. All the brass does, and they're just standing there looking stupid. Let's shoot them all, starting with the BG, Jens said. Range me again, my sweetheart. Let's show them what war is like. Range to BG, 1862 meters. Elevation, -16. Wind, 2 at 333. I tweaked the scope and had shot the BG and 2 bird kernels before they figured out they were targets and started moving. It didn't matter. They could run, but they couldn't hide, and I ended up emptying the rest of that mag and one other. All the brass were dead. I slammed another mag home and asked Jens, are there any more targets, my love? Well, it looks like the rest of the leaders have figured out our position and are trying to work their way up here. You want to try for them, or move? I've had about enough fun with this Barrett for now. I don't know how they did it, but even with the sniper simulation system, it still kicks like a son of a bitch. You want to try some shots, and I will spot you? I asked. Oh goody. You're going to let me play with your gun. Jens emphasized the double entendre, knowing we weren't on the radio. Only if you're gentle and don't break it, I said with a laugh. We switched places. Jens said, assault me. I mean, range me, my love. I laughed so hard I moved the scope. Once I got it back on target, I replied. Range to closest target, 1429 meters. Elevation, -10. Wind, 3 at 330. Jens set the scope, pulled the rifle but tight against her shoulder, lined up on the first target, and boom, one was dead. She emptied the mag, getting 7 more kills. Damn, that kicks like a mule, she commented. I think I've had enough, too. Let's get out of here. On the way back to Bravo, Jens said to me, almost crying, Ben, I seriously screwed up and need to apologize to you. We were in such a hurry to get over here that I didn't bring any other weapons with me. Because of that, we couldn't kill the rest of the targets. Not only that, it could have cost us our lives. I promise you I'll never make this mistake again. Shit, it was more my mistake than yours, I answered. After all, I'm the pack horse of this unit. That made her laugh and put her back in a good mood. If you're my horse, when do I get to ride you? Never, I said. Don't you know that you don't ride a pack horse? She pouted at me. Well then, it's too bad you aren't a cowboy. Why's that? Because then I could save the horse and ride the cowboy. She smacked my butt. Haw, get moving, horse. But I'm an Indian, I said. I guess that means I would have to ride you bareback. Jens laughed. Back at Bravo, I hid the Barrett and Jens checked the tactical on the computer. It looks like the rest of the leaders turned back, so we're safe here for a while longer. And the BG and the brass are almost out of the exercise area. It will be interesting to see what the BG says when he gets outside and can talk. Being shot, had turned off his tactical radio, and he had to exit the training area before he could be made live again. I was concerned that the BG was going to chew our butts, but he had been in the training area in a vest, and he knew that made him a target of opportunity. Sure enough, our tactical radios crackled. It was the BG Unit Bravo Juliet, our code names. What sort of bullshit is this, shooting me and all the rest of my brass when we were discussing this exercise with my troops? Yep. He was pissed. I looked at Yince and smiled. Sir, you were in our training area, and you were wearing combat vests. By the rules of engagement, that made you a target of opportunity. I continued, egging him on some. So, how many points do we get for killing a brigadier general with an M107 at 1800 meters? The BG knew I was right, and there wasn't much he could do about it. Besides, I did have the general's daughter with me. Yince was falling over from laughing so hard. The BG retorted, What do you mean your training area? This is my damned base, and this is my training area. I looked at Yince and winked. Excuse me, sir, but you're wrong. We own this training area, and you're trespassing in it. Don't worry, though. We love sending out the cannon fodder you keep sending in here. Of course, they do all leave in body bags. What is our kill count now? The BG launched a tirade of swear words that would make a sailor blush. Yince looked at me, concerned. My love, maybe you pushed him too far. I shook my head. No, I didn't push him far enough. He made major military mistakes today, and all we did was took advantage of it. He came in here acting all important and playing war. If this was a real war, the whole command staff of the base would be dead, and that's unacceptable. He knows that, and he's embarrassed and angry at himself and is taking it out on us. I asked her, I know you have your mobile phone with you. Will you please give the general a call and fill him in on what is happening? Yince got out her phone and made the call, and the general took it right away. The BG was still ranting and raving at me. Damn, he could chew butt. Yince hung up the phone, smiled at me, and was just getting ready to say something when the BG said, I order you both to come in right now so that we can continue this in person. Yince looked at me and shook her head no. I got tired of the BG's tirade and turned off my radio. Yince said, I told Daddy what happened and what is going on. He gave us an order that no matter what Brigadier General Thompson says, we're to continue this training exercise. He told me if we really needed him today, he would drop everything, but would prefer if he could wait until tomorrow. He also said as soon as he was done talking to me, he was going to call Brigadier General Thompson. I looked at her and smiled. Damn, it's nice having the general's daughter as my fiancée. She smiled. It does have its benefits. Daddy also said that Brigadier General Thompson will probably simmer down in a while, but to watch out because he will probably try something tricky. I turned my radio back on. The BG was done with his yelling. I figured the general had called him. In fact, the whole radio was quiet, too quiet. I looked at Yince, and she said while looking at the computer, This is strange. The whole training area is empty. I wonder what the BG has up his sleeve. She typed a few commands and told me, I've just set the computer to warn us if anyone enters the training area. Let's finish our MREs and take a nap. I have a feeling that we will need all the rest we can get. We finished our MREs. They were nasty cold by that time. Held each other close and went asleep. 5 hours later, the computer started playing Addams Family. Yince jumped up and looked at it. We have 2 groups of ghosts, 15 in each group, just entering the training area. She switched on the tactical radio. I don't hear any chatter from these guys. She messed around with her computer some more, and their tactical radio chatter started coming through the computer. She looked over at me and said, Shit. They're using encrypted tactical radios on the same frequency as the Navy SEALs. That son of a bitch called in 2 platoons of SEALs. We're in trouble. Yince's phone vibrated in her pocket. She took it out, looked at it and answered it. Yes, Daddy. I just saw the 2 platoons of SEALs. I can't believe that he would do that. She listened for a bit to her dad and then answered him. Hell, yes, I'm damn pissed about this. I'm not sure this falls within the rules of engagement. Again a pause while she listened. Well, if you're sure that it doesn't break the rules of engagement, then I trust you. Well, with Ben's luck and my ideas, we just might come out of this alive. Have a safe trip tomorrow. If we're still alive, we're not coming out until late Saturday night. Let that scumsucker send in everyone. We're going to send them back out in body bags. Goodbye. I love you, Daddy. She hung up the phone. I loved it when Yince got pissed. Even though we were facing 2 platoons of some of the best fighting men in America, I had faith that Yince would figure out some way for us to take care of them. She spent a couple of minutes watching the ghosts move on the computer screen. Shit, these guys are really good. So far they found all the traps. I wonder if the Brigadier General gave them a map of the trap locations. Ah, good. One of the new traps killed one of the SEALs. Son of a bitch. I think they do have a map. Not wanting to interrupt her thought process, I started getting the gear ready to move. Finally, she started shutting down the laptop, and I started tearing down the satellite dish. She looked up at me. Well, the son of a bitch BG gave the SEALs the map of all the traps. I can tell. They know how to avoid each trap. She was pissed. That's definitely a breach of the rules of engagement, and gives them an advantage. I knew Yince. She was now going to list all the pros and cons and tell me how we were going to kick some seal butt. Yince kept thinking out loud. They don't know about the new traps, and I'm pretty sure they don't know about our tricks with D.I. Anderson's platoon. So that's one advantage for us. They also don't seem to know the training area as well as we do. So that's another advantage for us. But that will only last for about 12 hours. Remember where you were when you knifed me? I nodded my head and she kept talking. Because we know the area better than them, we can beat them to the location. I want to give them a surprise party when they arrive. Yince reached in her pack, pulled out 2 new tactical radios, and said, "Put this on and destroy your old radio. Our old radios and their GPS transponders make it too easy to be tracked, and I can't trust that the BG didn't give the SEALs our transponder code. This radio has no transponder and is encrypted like the SEALs, plus we can listen in on their frequency." I threw my old radio to the ground and smashed it with a rock, and Yince did the same. "G up, put on your ghillie suit, and leave it on. These new ghillie suits will block the IR signature that the AWACS and the satellites are using to track us. Also, when we're hunkered down and shooting, make sure you keep this over your rifle. It will block its IR signature, too." She handed me a ghillie rifle blanket. We dumped everything else out of our packs and loaded up with as much ammo as we could. Yince threw me a big package of Hudson Bay bread and said, "Take it easy on this. It might be all that we have to eat until Friday night." She packed her laptop and satellite dish and said, "Well, my love." I knew what she was going to say and joined her. Death before dishonor. We hugged and kissed, and she said, "One more thing. We're doing this as a unit, but if either one of us dies, the other finishes the mission. This is the last hug and kiss for us until the mission is over." We heard our radio crackle. "Team 1. This is the eye in the sky. We have lost all contact with the targets. They were there 1 minute, and the next they were gone." One of the SEAL teams responded, "Roger. Please keep trying to locate them and advise if you do. We will proceed to the last known location to investigate." I heard Yince say, "That rat scumsucker. Wait till I tell Daddy." Then she stopped. "Wait. Let's head back. I have an idea." It took us about 30 minutes to set up a little surprise for the SEALs. I found myself wondering what cooked seal meat tastes like. Now we were back headed towards the center of the training area where all the trails intersect. As we approached, we heard, "This is Team 1. We are approaching the last known location of the target." Yince smiled and held up one finger. We heard the BG reply, "Let us know what you find." Yince got a really pissed look on her face, mouthed BG, and made a slicing motion across her neck. In a few minutes, Team 1 called back, "The area looks deserted, has a bunch of abandoned equipment." Yince held up 2 fingers, and her smile was even bigger. The BG interrupted, "Be careful if you move any of that equipment. She is an expert at booby traps." The leader keyed his mic the 3rd time, triggering Yince's trap, detonating the hidden claymores, and taking out all but 2 of the SEAL team. The BG called, "Team 1, report." "Sir, this is Team 1 reporting. We have lost 13 team members to an IED. Since we're the last 2, we'll be joining the other team." Yince was grinning. I thought, damn, I'm never going to piss her off. She would cheerfully put a bomb in my morning oatmeal. We strung a bunch of camo netting in the trees over the trail and hid it really well, dug a bunch of punji pits alongside the trail, and hid them. We knew that this bunch of SEALs would be very cautious and doubted any of these traps would kill them. All we wanted to do was slow them up so we could get some shots at them. "Eye in the sky, this is Team Leader 2. Do you have any intel on the position of our targets?" "Negative, Team Leader 2. "Still nothing," the AWACS replied. We hunkered down in the hole that I'd hidden in last time and both set up our 98 Bravos. She looked over at me and whispered, "Hey, it's pretty cozy in here. No wonder I couldn't see you. That was a great job on your first booby trap." "I bet they still don't know that they set it off," I replied. Yince said, "Thanks, my love. When the net drops, empty your 98 Bravo into them, slide out the back, and run like hell. I figure we'll have about 5 minutes before they can get out of the net. Don't forget about all the other traps. Soon it'll be night, and we'll need to change our tactics." Just as twilight fell, Team 2 started creeping into the area, moving slowly and being careful. They knew where the old traps were. They had the map. They had no idea Yince's new trap was radio operated, or what was about to happen to them. Yince was so excited that it was hard for her to stay still, but she knew if she moved, we were dead. Finally, they were all under the net. Yince pushed the button, the net fell over all of them, and we started shooting. We each scored 5 hits before the SEALs started getting out of the net. Then we crawled out the back of the bush and took off running. Over the tactical radio, we heard, "This is Team 2. We have been ambushed and lost 12 men. 10 to sniper fire and 2 were killed in punji pits. Requesting additional troops to continue our mission. Please advise." Brigadier General Thompson laid into them, which was a mistake, because the Admiral was listening in. The Admiral called the SEAL team. Team 1 and Team 2, this is Admiral Rowe. The training mission is now scrubbed. Report back to the base for debriefing. Yince and I stopped running, and she let out a big war whoop and started dancing. Damn, we beat the SEALs. We beat the SEALs. She was so excited she keyed her mic and said, that's too bad. The poor little SEALs have to go home and can't play anymore. I guess you now know what it's like to be completely controlled. Oh my God, could those SEALs swear? I just hope that we never meet them because I was sure it would be a big fight. I wanted to get in on the fun, too, so I keyed my mic. Brigadier General Thompson, sir. We told you to keep your men out of our training area, or we would send them back to you in body bags. Tell me, sir, how many points do we get for a SEAL? Brigadier General Thompson unloaded on us. It was a good thing he couldn't hear us laughing. Damn him anyway. He wanted us to train his men, and that's what we were doing. Then he got pissed at us because we also trained him. Yince's phone vibrated. It was General Donaldson. Hello, Daddy. Oh, you were listening in. Yes, I am sorry, sir. I shouldn't have insulted the SEALs, but Daddy, they were cheating, and we still beat them. Yes, Ben is here. You want to talk to him? Okay. And she handed me the phone. I took it and gulped. The general said, Son, you have made me a bunch of money today. The Admiral called me and said his SEALs would have no problems taking out, and this is in his words, a couple of recon jarheads. I told him put up or shut up, and he put up $10,000 that I'm going to give to you and Yince. I'm giving you a direct order to continue the fight, no matter what Brigadier General Thompson says or does. I'll be there tomorrow afternoon to deal with him. One more thing. This is all over Milnet. Everyone is mesmerized watching you too, and we can't get anyone to do any work in the Army, Navy, Marines, and even the Air Force. I answered, Thank you very much, sir. We will do as you have ordered. Might I make one request of you, sir? Will you please take that $10,000, add another $40,000 of my money, and bet it on us living and not coming out of the training area until Friday at 2400? The general replied, Damn, son, you have some real grit. I'm proud that you're going to be my son-in-law. Now let me talk to my daughter. Semper Fi, Marine. Ora, sir, I replied, and handed the phone to Yince. Yince talked a while longer and then said goodbye. It was nice hearing her talk to the general just like he was a real person. For so many years I'd thought that he was a cranky old scumsucker. Yince stared at me. Did I understand right that you just bet $50,000 on us, or am I going crazy? I answered, It's money in the bank. There's no way in hell that they're getting us out of our training area. Shit, they can send in the whole Army, Navy, Marines, and Air Force. We will leave our training area when we damn well feel like it. I love it when you get that fire in your eyes, Yince replied. Come here, my big, strong Marine, and give me some lovin'. I've wanted you all afternoon. We embraced in the middle of the training area, in the middle of our war. 10 minutes later, we broke it off and headed back to Alpha Base for the night. Yince fired up our computer guard dog, and we were asleep as soon as we lay down. Kadaba, Pakistan, evening of day 14. Those disgusting, scumsuckers. I'm still nauseated and shaken. I thought I'd seen it all, but what they did today, I couldn't believe it. They brought in a young boy who looked to be about 10 years old, tied him up on the bed, and assaulted him. I yelled at the scumsucker and called them names. I fought so hard against my restraints that my wrists and ankles are raw now and look like hamburger. I yelled so loud and so long that I lost my voice, but they just laughed at me. Once again, I think the whole town showed up. Shit, even some women came. I'll never get that boy's screams out of my mind. The worst of it is that he didn't pass out or go into shock. He's still tied to the bed and whimpering. It will be dark soon, and the rats will come out, with or without the lights, when they smell the blood. They tie me up to the ceiling and turn out the lights tonight. I steel myself against the cries of pain and terror I know I will hear and hope that the boy's death comes quickly. My jaw tightens. I'm going to make them pay. Unable to help their latest victim, I try to retreat into my mind, blocking out the horror happening just a few feet away. Kaneohe Bay, Hawaii, Wednesday, day 11. It took me a while to figure out the buzzing that woke me. Wake up, my fiancé. Your phone's ringing. I kissed Yince awake. Damn, I need to get that. It's probably Daddy. She yawned, rolled over, and pulled out her phone. Hi, Daddy. Sorry it took so long to get to the phone. We were sleeping. They talked a bit longer while she was checking the computer, then she motioned me over to sit beside her. She hit a button on the phone, and it became a speakerphone. Good morning, son. Can you hear me? The general asked. We can both hear you fine, Daddy, Yince replied. The general continued, I have some intel for both of you, and this doesn't break the rules of engagement. It's important, so listen closely. First, I chewed Brigadier General Thompson's, but for about 2 hours last night after we talked. What he did yesterday was reprehensible and came close to dishonoring the Corps. I made him understand that the shit he pulled yesterday would stop, and he wouldn't use any non-marine forces. Now, I have some orders for you. First, you two need to call Brigadier General Thompson on the radio and make up. Second, and this is unfortunate, you two are on your own and will not be resupplied, so use your resources wisely. Third, Brigadier General Thompson is going to try his best to beat you two, and he's sending in everything he can to accomplish his mission. And finally, keep all radio communications professional and without any swear words. This exercise has gotten bigger than anyone expected and has become a major priority for the Corps. I tell you more, but I don't want to distract you from your mission. You have 2 hours until Brigadier General Thompson launches his assault. Use the time wisely. Do you understand my orders? We replied together, yes, sir. The general finished, I still expect that you'll win this exercise. I'm proud of both of you. Don't let me and the Corps down. Semper Fi, Marines. Ora, we replied. I called the BG on the radio. Brigadier General Thompson, this is Unit Bravo Juliet checking in and letting you know that we're ready for today's mission. Thank you for the opportunity to train your troops. The BG replied, I want to thank both of you for this exercise. It'll be a shame when it is over today. That arrogant scumbag. I wanted to say something that would really get under his skin, but I had my orders. Yes, sir, that would be a shame. We hope to give you at least some challenges. Jin was looking at the computer. Shit, there are so many troops at the entrances I can't even count them. Looks like a target-rich environment, I replied. She continued, BG knows about Bravo location and has probably guessed where Alpha location is, but they have no idea about location Charlie. I think we should move all the heavy gear to Charlie, set up a few traps, plan an escape route, and wait for them to find us. One thing we'll have to be thinking about is other snipers. BG hasn't used them yet, but I bet they'll be here now. I agreed. Location Charlie should be perfect for this. We would be high up on a hill with our backs to the edge of the training area. It was shielded from other hills so the counter-snipers couldn't see us, was surrounded on all sides by a large open field, and one bunch of trees ran to the north for our escape route. I asked Jens, do you think they'll have IR-blocking ghillie suits like ours? I bet they will, she answered. But unless they have tactical radios without built-in GPS, we can track them. Let's get moving and haul all the gear here. We headed out, resetting all the traps on the way. I let Jens get the ones nearest, while I took the ones farther out. While I was gone, she started setting the perimeter traps for defenses and the ones to make sure that our escape route was clear. On my last trip in, I called to Jens. Jump in, Jens. This is my last trip in. Please come out and lead me through the traps. She replied, I'll be right out. Hey, when did I become Jumpin' Jens? I figured you needed a nickname too, and you do seem to jump around quite a bit when you're happy. And it sounds good together. Bonsai Bin and Jumpin' Jens. She walked up to me, grinning. Yeah, I do like that. Thanks, my love. After we're married, you'll be calling me Jumpin' Jens because I'm going to be jumping your bones all the time. She gave me a big hug and kiss. I missed you. I released her and took stock of our supplies. That's everything other than some food caches and 2 ammo caches for the M4S. You do realize that we're going to run out of ammo and have to start taking some normal M4S off the kills? I ran some scenarios and figured that out, she said. But the good news is unless we really screw up, we should be able to survive until Friday and 2400. Come on, let's get set up and have some food. It might be a long time before we can take a break and eat again. We set up both M107S and 98 Bravos and also a spotting scope for each of us, made sure that all the ammo was out for each rifle, and had our MREs. We then ranged some distinctive spots in the field, so we wouldn't have to take time to range when the action started. After we were done, there was nothing to do but wait for the ghosts to find us. Jens was cuddling with me and said, You think you could hit a man at 2,500 meters with the M107? I have before when the conditions weren't too bad, I answered, and she gave me a big kiss. I figured that you could. 1 minute. She rolled over to the computer, took a look at the display, and typed in some commands. Well, our guess was right. We have counter-snipers today. She entered some more commands. There. I've set up the computer to warn us when a sniper is within 3,000 meters and when normal troops are within 2,500 meters. It looks like they've been to both Alpha and Bravo locations, and now they're executing standard search routines. I think we have about 20 more minutes of peace. Our plan was really quite simple. We were going to sit at the top of this hill and wait for the targets to show up, shooting them first with the M107S at about 2000 m until we ran out of ammo, then with the 98 Bravos at about 1500 m until we exhausted their ammo, then the M4S at 500 m. When large enough groups got to the 400 m mark, we had a whole bunch of claymores waiting for them that could be set off separately or together, and we'd set a second bunch at 300 m. We couldn't let the troops get any closer, so when they reached 300 m we would make our escape. I really wasn't nervous. It was a nice day and I was holding Jens. The computer started playing the funeral dirge. Jens said, "Shit, that's a sniper," and looked at the computer. I guess they figured like we did that this hill would make a great place to wait for action. Let's take them out. I looked at the display and slowly slid over to my M107. Jens moved to her scope. "Range me, my love." "Wait a second." She pushed a button on her radio. "Now they can't transmit. Let's get the sniper first. He's on the left. Range, 2489. Elevation, -25. Wind, 01 at 182. I tweaked the scope and lined up the shot, and Jens tweaked her scope and lined up hers. "On 3, I said. 1, 2, 3. Both M107s barked, and the sniper and spotter were dead. "Is there anyone close to the area?" I asked Jens. "I'm sure some heard the shots, but they won't be here for at least 15 minutes. I'm heading down and taking their weapons," I told her. "We can use all the help that we can get." I knew this would really piss off the sniper and the spotter, but we were in a war, and I would take good care of their rifles. 10 minutes later, I was back with the rifles and all the ammo. Jens asked, "So, what did you score?" They were pretty pissed. I had to promise them that we would take good care of their rifles. We got an M40 in .308 with 100 rounds of ammo, and 2 standard M4S each with 15 mags. The M40 will be good to about 800 meters. That's when the .308 goes subsonic. I'm setting it up between us. I'll put the M4S by ours for when we bug out. We might as well use their M4S and leave our suppressed ones for later, I answered. Wow, that's a good haul, and it's really going to help, especially the M4S. Now we can just take mags off of our other kills, Jens said with a smile. The computer played Adam's Family. She looked at it. Well, it looks like our shots attracted some attention. We have 3 platoons approaching the hill. Let's wait till they get within 2,000 meters this time. The platoons stopped at the edge of the woods and were glassing the top of the hill. I wasn't worried because I knew they couldn't see us. I whispered to Jens, "I have a better idea. Let's wait until they all come into the clearing. You get on the 98 Bravo and take the close ones. I'll be on the M107 and take the far ones." "Yeah, I like that plan better." She slid over to her 98 Bravo. They sent a couple scouts into the field towards the top of the hill, but we held our fire. Finally, when they were about 1,000 meters from the top of the hill, the rest of the platoons came out and the 2 scouts stopped to wait for them. "How stupid can you be?" Jens gaped. "They're just waiting for us to shoot them." I slid over to my 98 Bravo. I didn't even need the cannon for this one. When they get within 25 meters of the scouts, we start shooting. "Go for the back ones first," I said. When the platoons got close to the scouts, all hell broke loose. First, Jens pushed the button on her radio and jammed their communications. Then we started firing as fast as we could, and the platoon members were all dying. There was no cover other than the trees about 1,000 meters behind them, and it was easy to pick off the ones running for the trees. They were firing towards us, but 1,000 meters is too far for a .223 to reach. It was a pretty intense firefight for about 5 minutes, and then it was over. We both slid over to the computer. Jens said, "Well, they didn't get out a radio call, but all the noise attracted more platoons. You have about 10 minutes until they reach here. I'll cover you. Go and get us some more gear." 7 minutes later, I came running back up the hill carrying a heavy load. "Damn," Jens said, "you hit the jackpot. You even have AM-249 SAW, a machine guns gonna come in handy, and 2 more M4S and 2 M1014 shotguns." "Oh," she all but squealed, "and the best of all, a 60mm mortar. What are we going to do with all of this? Plus, my pack is filled with M4 mags and mortar rounds." "It must weigh 100 kilograms, I said. "I don't really like the idea of indiscriminately spraying the training area with ammo from the SAW and shotguns, but I thought you could put that devious little mind of yours to work and figure out some sort of way to turn this shit into a trap." "What, me? Devious?" She batted her violet eyes. Then she was back to business. "First, we have a couple more platoons to deal with." 2 minutes later, the platoons showed up. Jens was watching them on the computer. "Well, one platoon isn't coming up the middle. It looks like they want to flank us. I guess that platoon is in for a surprise." I grabbed the M40 we took off the sniper and moved it to the side to watch the other platoon. "I think I want to use this. I'll let them get about 300 meters from us before I start firing." Yin's jammed the communications and was watching the group in our escape route on the computer. When they were in the right spot, she pressed the detonator and we heard a big boom. It echoed loudly, for a fake. Beauty, boys. Have a good trip back to the entrance, Yin said with a laugh. It's amazing what you can do with AM-1831 satchel charge. The noise had been so loud that the platoon I was watching stopped and dropped to the ground. I figured, what the hell? They're close enough, and opened up with the M40. With the minimal kick of the .308, I was able to acquire my targets much faster. It wasn't long before this platoon broke rank and started running down the hill. I kept on reloading and firing until I hit the last one at about 850 m. Son of a bitch, I said. I missed a shot. There goes my perfect record. I'd known it would happen sooner or later, but I didn't like it. Yin smiled at me. Don't worry, you're still perfect for me. The computer started playing the funeral dirge. Shit. Looks like we have some more snipers to deal with, Yin said. 2 units this time. I looked at the computer. Damn, Lassie is doing a great job. Lassie? Yin asked. Well, I told you that I named everything. I figured that this computer was a hell of a watchdog, keeping us safe just like Lassie used to do for Timmy. I was going to name it Pitbull, but it seems more like a woman to me. So Lassie is better, I said with a laugh. Why is my computer a woman? She asked. I laughed. Well, because you can work miracles with both by gently using your fingers if you only know the proper code. Yin started laughing. That was really funny. You can work miracles on me anytime. I'll be glad to teach you the code. By then, the first bunch of snipers were close enough that we needed to pay attention. They know we're up here, Yin said. I don't think they're going to get in range. Well, let's see if we can persuade them to either leave or get closer. Please range them for me. I don't know what you're going to do. Even the M107 can't reach that far. Range, 3215 meters. Elevation, -35. Wind, 3 at 185. Yin said. I crawled out the back of the camo net and started messing with the mortar. Shit, I forgot about that, Yin said. It looks like they were sent here to make us hold our position until the rest of the troops get here. Hurry up, we only have about 5 minutes, she urged. I'd never screwed with a mortar before, but they're frickin' simple to use. All you do is aim them, adjust the angle, drop around in the tube, and duck. Yin said, wait a minute, let me figure out what angle you want on that thing. She switched to a different program on the computer and typed in some commands. Try a 62-degree angle first. Okay, my love. Spot where I hit. Fire in the hole. I dropped a round down the tube. It hit the bottom and went thunk, flying towards the enemy. Wow, Jens giggled. You hit behind them and scared the crap out of them. Adjust the angle up to 64 and try it again. I did. Fire in the hole. This one hit in front of them. They knew what was coming next and took off. Damn, Jens said. They left before we could get them. Let's see where the others are. Well, the other snipers figured out that they were next and they were moving off, too. I would have done the same thing. Hey, let's use this on the platoons. We might as well get rid of all the rounds. I don't want to carry that crap when we bug out, Jens said. Move it about 10 degrees to the left, change the angle to 55, and let it rip. I made the adjustments, dropped the round. It went thunk, and Jens almost started jumping. Damn, you hit them and took out a whole platoon. I guess you were lucky. Let's try again. Move it 36 degrees to the right and change the angle to 50 degrees. I made the changes. Fire in the hole. Shit, that was in front of them. Try 48 degrees. I took out most of another platoon. We spent the next few hours dropping mortar rounds on anything that was in our area. It was causing huge havoc among the troops. They even set up a mortar and tried to drop some rounds on us, but because we were so far uphill from them, they couldn't get close enough. Jens said they had to get closer than 2000 m to be able to hit us, and whenever they tried that we took them out with the M107. But they did have us pinned down on top of the hill, at least that's what they thought. Jens kept a close eye on the escape route and blew the hell out of anyone that came up it with a satchel charge. I eyed the 2 mortar rounds that remained. I think we should save these, just in case. When we stopped shelling them, BG's troops became braver and moved into about 2500 m, just a bit too far for the M107. I looked at Jens and said, shit, I already have one miss. I might as well give it a shot. Please range me on the closest target. Jens answered, you make this shot and you earn a month of BJs after we are married. Range, 2514. Elevation, -36. Wind, 00. Wait, hold your shot until I tell you. You might be able to get 2. I lined up on the target and waited for what seemed to be half an hour before Jens said, fire. I let loose, and she reported, shit, you took out 2 with 1 shot. I guess I now owe you 2 months of BJs. I grinned. With pleasure, but only if I get to return the favor. You did say that 69 was your favorite number. Jens blushed. Someday, I'm going to make you eat your words. I looked her over from head to toe. I would rather eat you. Jens turned really red, started watching the computer, and said, "It looks like they're moving out to about 3,000 meters. I wonder what their plans are." A few minutes later, she remarked, "I'll be damned. He didn't learn." I slid over beside her, and there was the star on the screen coming towards us. She continued, "I'm glad we saved a couple of mortar rounds. Shall we send that rat scumsucker back to the entrance? Come on, you scumsucker, just a little bit closer. He's right where you dropped the last round." What a frickin' idiot. I was already at the mortar and dropped a round. Fire in the hole. The computer started playing the wedding march, and I knew that we had hit him. Woohoo. Good shot, my love, Jens said. I wish that I could jump up and down. She did give me a big hug and kiss when I went back down beside her. Look, my fiancé. The troops are moving further out again, Jens said. We were in a real Mexican standoff for the time being. We couldn't shoot them, and they couldn't shoot us. We still had plenty of ammo in the high ground. If they wanted us, they were going to have to come and get us and chase us off this hill, and it was going to cost them when they did. Jens figured that would happen sometime tonight. I kept watch on the computer and fired at anyone that got too close while Jens was fiddling around with the M249 saw, a bunch of wood and other crap, and some duct tape. God, I love a woman who uses duct tape. Why, thank you, my dear. I love you too, Jen said, reading my feelings again, and kept messing with the saw. After about 30 minutes, she said, cool, that should work. I slid over and looked at it. What sort of Rube Goldberg device has my devious witch come up with now? Well, if I did this right, when I hit this remote, the saw will fire, and the recoil will cause it to move left and right, making it look like someone is here and firing it. How many cans of ammo did you bring for it? She asked. I brought 3. Do you think that we can hook all 3 cans together? She wondered. You bet. I've seen it done before. You take sentry duty and I'll take care of it, I answered as I started on the chore. I had just finished when Jens said, get ready. It looks like we're going to have some action. I slid over to my M107, spanking her on the butt as I passed her. Hey, just one spanking? I want more, she laughed. It looks like they're going to try sending 3 platoons at once. My guess is, they will all run as fast as they can, hoping to overrun us. I think they'll also try to sneak another platoon up our escape route, so I've set it on automatic. Such foolish tactics. This reminds me of half a league, half a league. She never did get to finish the poem, because they attacked. We both started with the M107S for the range. I had 8 hits. Jens missed one and was really bitching about it. Hey, I love you, but shut up and keep firing, I admonished. Then, we moved to the 98 Bravos. I fired all 10 rounds and moved to the M40. Jens popped another mag in hers and kept firing. Just as we killed the last of the charge up the middle, 2 satchel charges went off on the escape route. Jens rolled over to the computer and checked it. Damn, they sent 2 platoons up the escape route. The 3 that came up the middle were just cannon fodder to distract us. 5 platoons. What sort of bumbling idiot loses 5 platoons? I rolled over and gave her a big hug and kiss. You did a great job. If you hadn't been here with me, we would have been overrun. Shit, 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 she said. I missed that one shot. I am not used to the M107. I need more practice. And what's this shit telling me to shut up? You owe me 2 kisses for that, Jens said, feigning anger. Now that was a punishment I could handle. I gave her 2 smoking hot kisses. The enemies pulled back to regroup, and I checked all the weapons and ammo. Well, we're getting low on 50 cal rounds for the M107S. We each have 2 more mags. I would like to save at least 1 mag each so that we can keep these scumsuckers out past 2,000 meters. We have plenty of .338, .308, and .338 whisper ammo for a couple more charges. I think we should save the whispers for when they chase us out of here, and we have to fight mobile. Next time they charge, we will use the .338s, and then you can switch to the .308. We have a shitload of .223 for the normal M4S and 1 mortar round left. Jens checked the other equipment. We still have 5 more satchel charges on the escape route, so I think we're fine there. We also have the surprises waiting for them here when they do make it to the top. Lassie is in watchdog mode, and I don't think they'll try that again. Let's grab some chow. A good firefight makes me hungry. She fixed us a couple of MREs and spiced them up just the way I like them. She even used the little bottle of Tabasco sauce. Once again, you totally amaze me, I told her. You take something that is barely edible, and you make it taste almost as good as your home cooking. Thank you again for taking such good care of me. So, you like camping with a girl, and you would do it again, she teased, probably because she knew I'd never been camping with anyone but guys. No, I wouldn't camp with a girl again, but I would camp with you in a New York. Frickin' minute, I said. Well, that was such a fine dinner. How about an after-dinner drink? I would love one, but I don't know where we could find one, she answered. I do. I went to my pack, pulled out my pocket flask, and handed it to her. She passed it underneath her nose. I should have known. Do you drink anything besides Knob Creek? Shouldn't you know? After all, you are a witch, and you claim to know everything about me, I jibed. She took a swig, handed it to me, and proceeded to tell me all about the drinks that I like and when I like to drink them. She even told me what I had to drink when I got drunk and puked all over Jugs's car. I'm sure that my mouth dropped open again. I finally took a swig myself and shook my head. I should know better. Yes, you should by now. Is there anything else you want to know about yourself? How about when you lost your virginity? She taunted, a wicked gleam in her eyes. Lassie announced the approach of more snipers with the funeral dirge and saved me. Wouldn't they ever learn? Yince rolled over and started petting Lassie, and I moved to my M107. A couple seconds later, we heard, splat, crack. Damn, that was too close, I said. If they can get that close, let me know where they are. I can nail them. Yince moved to her spotting scope, and I found the targets. Please range me, my baby doll, I asked. Keep talking like that, and I might be your inflatable doll. Range, 1945. Elevation, -19. Wind, nada. We heard another shot from the sniper as I made the adjustments. I lined up on him, and boom, he was dead. His spotter jumped up and tried to run, and I got him, too. I did a tactical reload on the M107. My love, I asked innocently, please explain to me, what is an inflatable doll? Yince blushed. I grinned. You look so cute when you blush. Of course she turned even redder. It was nice winning an occasional battle with her, but I knew better than to expect that I would win the war. I wasn't sure I wanted to. Capitulation could be pleasant, in the end. We cleaned up from our MRE meals and brushed our teeth, and both took a leak. Yince offered to let me watch her if she could watch me. I turned beet red. See, I always win, Yince said. We cuddled a bit more, and Yince told me, they're going to do one more charge right at twilight. I'm sure this one will be even worse than the last. They'll probably overrun this position, because they'll send them in waves. We'll only need to hold them off until the satchel charges go off on the escape route. I'll be watching Lassie, and when the escape route clears we need to take off and get out of here. When we leave, I'll activate the Claymore's motion sensors, and the saw and the final surprise for when they're up here. I think we're going to make it out of here, but there's a 20% chance that we won't. Don't be angry at me if we die. I held her tightly. How could I ever be angry at the most beautiful woman in the world? You've done your best, and you've already saved us many times today. I love you. I punctuated it with a kiss. She looked at Lassie and asked me, we still have one more mortar round? Just one, I answered. You think that you can get 4,000 meters out of it? I don't know. You're the expert, I said. She smiled. The BG is back, probably to take command when they overrun us. Get to the mortar, move the direction 13 degrees to the left, and put the angle at, let's try 40. I dropped our last mortar round and yelled, fire in the hole. We waited for what seemed like an eternity before Lassie started barking the wedding march. Woohoo! Killed that cheating rat scumsucker again. Yince hooped. Now he won't be here for his victory. We got into position, and Yince looked at Lassie. Be ready, anytime now. I flipped on the NV on the M107 and the 298 Bravos. I was ready. While I was setting up, I noticed some movement within range. I whispered to Yince, I already have some targets in range. I'm going to start firing. She said, I have some in range too. Shall we start this attack? We started firing, taking out troops until we ran out of ammo on the M107S. Finally, the platoon started up the hill towards us. We were firing as fast as we could, and it was a slaughter, but the platoons kept coming. I'm out on the .338, Yince yelled, moving to the .308 and continuing the fire. I'm out too, I replied, thinking that the satchel charges better blow soon, or we were going to be in deep shit. I grabbed an M4 and started shooting. The range was too far, but I was hitting some shots. My fight or flight instincts were sounding like crazy, emphasis on flight. When the satchel charges finally went off, Yince rolled over and looked at the computer. It worked. Let's beat feet before they figure this out. We slipped out of the back of the camo net. Yince threw the laptop and dish in her pack and threw it on, and I did the same. We grabbed our rifles, and Jens looked down the hill and pressed a couple of remotes. The saw cranked up and starting spitting lead down the hill. Shit, it was even hitting some of the troops. Then the claymores started going off at 400 meters. It's a shame we can't stay and watch this, Jens said. There's going to be mass carnage. Let's move. As we ran down the escape route, Jens triggered one more remote. She was in the lead and I had her back. Our M4s were ready, but we didn't run into anyone. After we got past the satchel charges, she hit the final remote and yelled something, but I couldn't hear her over the noise. There was so much havoc from the saw and all the claymores going off that no one noticed when we joined the back of a platoon, heading away from the area and regrouping. They didn't even notice that we were picking them off one by one until they were all dead. Jens taunted as she passed them. Thanks for the escort, boys. Don't get lost heading for the entrance. We ran for over an hour before we figured it was safe enough for us to stop for a breather. We found a nice place under some bushes, crawled in, and snuggled up to each other. We were both breathing so hard that we couldn't talk. Then the whole sky at the top of the hill lit up with a huge boom. Jens was barely able to whisper. I guess they found our surprise. After we caught our breath, Jens said, well, that was fun, but we need to get to our next location. I reached in my pack and pulled out a pair of custom bionic ears. Now you get to see one of my secrets. These let me hear a mouse fart at 500 meters. No matter how quiet the others are, I'll hear them. This is how I was able to hear you the other day when you were sneaking up on my decoy ghillie suit. Why, you sneaky devil dog, I was wondering how you knew. But won't you go deaf if you fire a weapon with those in? She asked. I shook my head. It's better with these in because they automatically limit high noise levels. Then why the hell don't you wear them all the time? With as much shooting as you do, you're going to be deaf soon. No more shooting without those in. And I want a pair for me ASAP, Jens ordered. Yes, my love. The problem is that I can't make these work with the radio, I explained. Jen said, have you ever heard of duct tape? Why don't you just duct tape the radio earpiece to the side of the bionic earpiece? Shit, I had never thought of that. She pulled out some duct tape and taped the radio earpiece to the bionic earpiece, tested it, and it worked great. Next time you need to figure out how to fix something, make sure to ask me. You'd be amazed what I can do with duct tape. She grinned. Honey, you amaze me with everything that you do. I replied and kissed her. So how sensitive are those? And I don't want the mouse fart answer. I pulled the one out of my ear that didn't have the radio taped to it. Try it yourself. It won't fit right in your ear canal, but you can get a good idea. She fitted into her ear, and her eyes widened. Wow, this is amazing. I can even hear you breathing, she whispered. No wonder you could hear me sneaking up on you the other day. I can't wait to get a pair of these. She took it out of her ear and handed it me. I put it back into my ear. I have heard other snipers just from the rustling of their ghillie suits. Your suit doesn't rustle, or we would have fixed it, but you need to work on how quiet you can move. In fact, we will work on this together starting right now. We pulled out our night vision gear and put it on, then slowly slipped out of our hiding place. I listened and told Jens anytime I could hear her. She was getting better, but it was going to be a long night. Dear listeners, the next part will be out soon. Meanwhile, please share your thoughts in the comments section below and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.